There was not fraud, and now it seems to be determinative fraud. In other words, there can be fraud, but the Justice Department says, and it's unspecified, it has to be so much fraud that that's why you lost the election. You can't go around saying anything about this in the future. It's a freedom of speech case. We'll talk to John Yu about that, big-time attorney that we love having on, Philadelphia guys on the West Coast now. But I wanted to mention this menace, this guy leading the longshoremen strike. Now, we had on good union guy yesterday, Bill Hamilton, the Teamsters. If I had him here now, I think I'd ask him about this with this maniac. Just last week, this guy went off on Easy Pass. Now, remember, we talked about part of this deal here is not just more money, it's automation. And automation is, okay, a tricky thing. Henry, spot question for you, because I use it, not that much, but if I did, so what? Do you use the quick checkout line where it's 10 or 15 items? Would you use that?
Oh, always.
You're a villain in this guy's mind. You know why? Because you're taking away a union job, or at least a job there, and giving it to a machine. In that, that should be something a cashier does.
All right, call me the Joker then.
True.
I want to get out of there.
That's exactly right. Well, this guy says about Easy Pass, the first time they came out with Easy Pass, one lane, the cars were going through it, everybody's sitting in their car. They go, what's that all about? I'm going to get one of them. Today, all these union jobs are gone, and it's all Easy Pass. People don't realize everybody's got 3 cars, everybody's got an Easy Pass in the window, and they go through like it's nothing, and they get billed in the mail. They don't care about that union worker working in the booth. This guy is either believing this or selling this to his members. They're going to make us care about them. They're going to make us say, you are going to realize how important we are, and we are going to punish you if you don't. I mean, who could be on the side of this, of what's happening with this? And I need a report out there in the field. We're starting to see some panic buying, even though some of these products are not brought in by ship. I'm looking at a national column, and they talk about someone at the Sam's Club over in Deptford. It was cleaned out the first day of this. We're only in day 3. So there are legitimate fears about automation. But do you see the mentality of this guy? In the New York Post, he's suing or threatening to sue because they've exposed him. He has his own yacht, a Bentley, and his mansion has a guest house as big as a family home, it looks like, in the photos in the Post today, giant swimming pool. And this guy's going to make us care about this. I mean, it's one thing to say, whoa, the driverless car, things of this nature. I'm never going to be in favor. Maybe I'm irrational. The driverless trucks rolling down the highway. No. We're not doing that. Not going to a robot doctor. There will not be robotic talk show host. Maybe, who knows what they'll come up with. But Easy Pass, it's 1987. Do you see the mentality? And look, as tough as this is about winning. This is going to hurt, is hurting in swing states and other places, Kamala Harris. You know what else is hurting Harris and Biden? The fact that FEMA is now saying they've run out of money, and yet they've spent tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, dipping into the FEMA fund on, wait for it, illegal migrants. And you have people in the Carolinas and other places, maybe into Georgia, well, North Carolina anyhow, who are saying, I have no faith in this relief effort. Well, how could you? Look who's in charge of it. Kamala Harris yesterday, here is the cut, offering $750 in Augusta, Georgia. This is cut 10A.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met.
All right. So, people are looking at this. They're looking at Ukraine. By the way, DeSantis and Henry, maybe you could see, I'm just reading on the fly here, to deploy the National Guard amid the port strike. Whoa, wait a minute. Does that mean the National Guard? It's Fox on in there, right? Does that mean DeSantis is going to have the National Guard unload the ships? And they're going to temporarily waive restrictions on transportation coming in, the size of trucks and everything else. You know what? I know DeSantis is challenged when it comes to charisma, the thing with Trump. But DeSantis doesn't play around. Henry, can you tell by that? Is he going to have them unload the ships? He's deploying the National Guard amid this port strike, or is that just to bring in more goods by truck?
I'm not quite sure yet on
Okay,
that.
yeah, see if we can find that out. Man, I'm praying. He's saying, I'm bringing the National Guard in, get in the way, we're going to unload these ships. He's at least bringing the National Guard in to facilitate the ease on restrictions here to get more goods trucked into Florida. I mean, just look at the leadership of this guy. Look, there's a lot of things. DeSantis, I think, has killed himself politically with the 6-week abortion ban. But when it comes to stuff like this, he just doesn't bluster. He goes on the attack. Love to hear from you, though, saying, well, come on, Tom, he's breaking a strike here, et cetera. Well, you got a president who won't put the Taft-Hartley Act in. This is crippling America. Now, part of me says, okay, Biden, this is going to cut against you politically. There is no doubt here, so we're going to have to put up with it. If it helps us win, oh, well. So 855-839-1210. That's just breaking. We're trying to clarify exactly what DeSantis is doing here. But it appears to be he is going directly at the shutdown in Florida in some way to try to ameliorate it. Okay, now, Jack Smith, this warfare, legal fare against President Trump yesterday. 165 pages. Isn't it curious that it was dropped just after the VP debate, which, if not a disaster with Walz, was not good for them, pushed them back a bit. Suddenly, 165 pages. And the bottom line in this is, even though Stacey Abrams, Hillary Clinton, throughout the show, I'll give you nuggets of that, have complained and thought that they won the election and they were cheated somehow or another. So what he's basically saying is that while some votes, this is Jack Smith, may have been fraudulent, only the Department of Justice can decide when it's acceptable to speak out against that. Now, you hear this all the time. When I say voter ID, what do people on the other side say? Well, it's never been proven that that would turn an election. My response is, you're not moving the goalposts. I don't care. I want every single vote to be transparent and to be legal. So I'm not going to play your game and say, well, it's got to be 10,000 votes before we do anything. No. If the policy is good and it stops one person from cheating, that's what I want. Well, that's not going to turn an election. We go through this all the time on this. Isn't that essentially what he's saying in 165 pages? And he's trying to get inside Trump's mind to say that Trump knew he lost and he was just going through this to try to be chaotic or to overthrow the government somehow or another. That's going to be very hard to prove to a jury, even a fixed jury, even though this would be in Washington, D.C., so you can see the danger in this. I would say this, if Trump doesn't win this election, there's a good bet he's going to end up in jail. And this could be the case because of where it's going to be heard. So there's a lot riding on this. Well, Don, what about the Supreme Court? Yeah, well, that's what he tries to address in here and say these were private actions. They had nothing to do with his official office, so therefore he has no immunity. I don't see too much new in here, but 165 pages of it, that's the gist of it. We'll talk to John Yoo about that, his expertise on it. And Thomas Massey, Henry, if you take his name, Congressman, I'm trying to get him on because he is really holding to the fire, the feet to the fire. The Department of Justice, they're holding up this Inspector General's report. And it seems to me the Inspector General is on the side of saying there were any number of FBI assets, meaning people, who were engaged in January 6th. Now, you know my stance on January 6th. I mean, I think there were people trying to egg this on, but I think there were people there, case by case, who deserved to go to jail for a good long time. So it depends. But doesn't that give us a better sense of it? Why are they holding that up until after the election? That's what they're trying to do, because they know that cuts toward the actual truth about January 6th versus what they're trying to use now. This is what they're running on. This seems to be the new strategy to close out the last 30 days, abortion and January 6th. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. Now, today's a big day in history. I can remember where I was, remember all the toilet flushing. I remember the consternation. I was still at WWDB, 1995, on this day in history, O.J. Simpson was acquitted of the two murders. And subsequent to that, over the years, I've had on F. Lee Bailey. We've had Alan Dershowitz on all kinds of times. We've had the Brown family on and assorted players. But O.J., to that point, was a football hero, arguably among the three greatest running backs in history, had over 2,000 yards running one year in Buffalo. And a lot of people thought, O.J., he would do this? We didn't know a lot about him. So we're looking today for what O.J. was known for, pitchman, Hertz, among others. But that was the one running through the airports, jumping over stuff. He did one with Arnold Palmer, too. Hit us with the all-time great product, pitchman, or spokesperson. It doesn't have to be an infomercial. Could be any kind of product. I have a couple to start off. Ron Popeil. Now, this is the infomercial. Just to me, I could watch that as if it's a show, what Ron Popeil would do, particularly with the stuff you spray it on your head and you're not bald, stuff like that. And George Foreman, who would have thought George Foreman would be more known for that than he would as heavyweight champion, arguably? The Foreman Grill, which has become legendary. So I'll take those two off. Henry, how about yours?
Hi, Billy Mays here with a fantastic new side question answer.
There you go.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than him with his energy and everything he brought to an infomercial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but, again, doesn't have to be an infomercial. Can just be any kind of product, local, national, whatever. And it's all in the call. It's all in something about it that appeals to you, that you really like about it, that you think, oh, this person was really tremendous for that. All right, so 855-839-1210. And I asked Henry, I'll ask you, do you feel out of line using the quick checkout? Easy Pass. I mean, a certain amount of automation that has made our life smoother, better, and more convenient. Imagine back in the day with toll taking and all, how slow that is, how difficult that is. I mean, when you're driving down to Wildwood, you can be going through at almost a normal speed somewhat, and no problem. It moves traffic. Not with this guy. This guy's determined, too, to cripple us. It's some kind of vengeance here. You're going to see how important we are. So Ron DeSantis apparently using, in various ways, the National Guard in Florida. That's exactly what should be done. And it underlines the upside of Ron DeSantis. We know the downside. We saw it during the campaigns and all, but there's a lot of upside still with DeSantis. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. Have you about had it with this strike, or are you on the union side? Yeah, look at this. Look at what, these are foreign companies and all. They are making a good bit of money, if not a lot of money. But I'm looking at the dock worker compensation, at least in some instances. A lot are over $250,000 a year. And the automation part, there got to be areas that you limit this. But this guy doesn't want Easy Pass. 855-839-1210. You get in with Dom here on Talk Radio 1210.
High school football is back. High school football is back. And so is the Friday Night High School Football Scoreboard Show. Join Daryl Dobis, James Bailey, and Matt Dents. Friday nights 10 till midnight for a rundown of all the big high school games in the region and expert analysis. The Friday Night High School Football Scoreboard Show. Friday night at 10. Only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
The following is a paid commercial message.
Bob Casey supported radical sanctuary city policies, and Casey said,
I want to be held accountable if something doesn't work out well.
Casey's sanctuary city policies haven't worked out well. They released dangerous illegal immigrants onto our streets. In fact, Casey's sanctuary city policies released one illegal immigrant felon in Philadelphia who then raped a 5-year-old Pennsylvania girl. Casey made us all less safe. Casey not only supports these crazy policies that put convicted felons back on our streets, he'd make things even worse. Casey voted to give illegals with violent criminal records amnesty. Casey supported amnesty even for illegals convicted of domestic violence and child abuse. Rewarding illegals convicted of domestic violence and child abuse? It's insane.
I want to be held accountable.
It's time to hold Casey accountable. It's time for a change. It's time to fire Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Honey, I'm going to Wawa for dinner.
Okay, but Ben wants pizza.
Yep.
And Nick wants a burger and fries.
Right.
Oh, and the twins? They won't touch anything except for mac and cheese.
Exactly. Wawa has something for everyone for dinner, so I only have to make one stop to make everyone happy. So, what do you want?
Well, if you're going to Wawa, I have to have a hoagie.
From burgers to hoagies and everything in between, Wawa has dinner for everyone.
Got a roofing problem? Don't let it ruin your day.
Emmons Roofing and Siding offers professional roofing services, from repairs to complete lifetime warranted replacements.
And you can trust our experienced team to keep your home safe and secure. And we can even handle insurance claims for you.
Give us a call today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on the web at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
All right, Tom Giordano show. Welcome in. So the ladies on The View have weighed in. Henry, at Mediaite, I know you're doing a lot of stuff now. Maybe I get that. Sonny Hostin saying this abortion defense by Melania Trump is undercutting Trump because she hates him. And that's why she's doing this, to hurt him. I don't know how this plays, but I think we ought to talk about it. It's not out of bounds because this is about winning. And does this have any input? Now, my first instinct with this stuff that you wrote about abortion is, okay, this idea, well, she has a right to her own opinion. And I know we all have to say that. But remember, we're in the middle of something existential here, winning this election. And I don't think that this helps. Are you brave enough to tell me what you think? Or do you say, oh, you can't be talking about that? We have to pretend like it's a blackout on this. This is making a lot of news, and that's what we talk about here. 855-839-1210. Particularly, I'd love to hear from women on this. This would be similar. Say Roe had a different thing and then suddenly got on here, calls in to talk about something else, and she goes down a path that would be difficult. Are you okay with that? 855-839-1210. Here's Sonny Hostin, of course, mangling this into something that ridiculous. Here's what she said on The View.
Go right ahead, Missy.
I think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all agree on that. That's a given. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the first lady anymore.
They agree with you.
She doesn't want to be the first lady. She destroyed the Rose Garden. Who hates Christmas? Melania Trump hates Christmas. She doesn't want to decorate for Christmas. She doesn't want to have anything to do with him.
About that, yeah.
She doesn't want to sleep in the same room with him. she can't tolerate him.
Allegedly.
And she does.
Yeah, how do you know all this?
Yeah,
I don't know. You don't know all this.
All right, you got the gist of it, Henry. Thank you. So here's an insight. First of all, by all the stuff that we know, all the reporting, all the snippets, she every bit wants to win. At least that's the sense that I get. So your thoughts on putting this into the memoir that's out there? Now, I don't know in the first interview that was done, I don't remember it being talked about. And this just came out because a couple of people got access to the book that's not out yet, and they went with it. Now, this is just another blip on the screen, but it is an interesting thing to see this play out, particularly when everybody in the world is on pins and needles thinking what is going to determine this election ultimately. What little thing, what October surprise, what I had the honor last night. Linda Kearns will be here at 12:30 to speak to, well, there were 100 people on the Zoom call, so I'm not sure how many were volunteers of our listeners, though. People are putting it on the line. They're committed. They went through poll watcher training last night. She said, yeah, I want you to inspire them. I'm inspired by that. The number of our listeners that are going to be doing that, sometimes in places that could be difficult on Election Day. People are putting it all out there. So I got a question. Putting this in the memoir here at this point, 30 days out from the election, about abortion. I don't know, though, that it has an impact that's negative. Are pro-life people going to see, I know Trump wasn't pro-life. Are people going to say, well, look, Trump's not going to put a national ban on abortion. Deep down, this is not an issue that he's going to gravitate toward, which is what I think. He put the right people on the Supreme Court. They kicked it back to the states. That's exactly the way it should go. All right, 855-839-1210, though. It's easy to say, well, everybody has a right to their own opinion, even in marriage. Yeah, that's just a convenient way of getting out of it. This is a very public type of thing, and every one of these things could be consequential. Is Lisa on that, on Melania? So I'd love to hear from you throughout the show. What do you think of doing that at this point in time? I'm sure you can say, well, look, this shows that this is a marriage where you can speak your minds. I'm in the camp the other way, and this comes up in a lot of marriages, where there are certain times where, out of deference to your spouse, you don't say anything in these situations. That's the way I see it. Lisa in Royersford. Hey, Lisa, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon.
Yes, go right ahead.
Well, my thoughts are that as an American, I feel I need to respect my fellow Americans' point of view. So Melania is entitled to her opinion.
No doubt about it. But let me ask you, Lisa, if you have a significant other, are you saying what you think that may be in contravenance to what they are publicly, say in their workplace or something like that? Don't you think this can have unintended consequences?
I would hope it wouldn't, because we're not voting for Melania. I know that's his spouse. We're voting for Donald Trump.
Okay, we all know. Wait a minute. We all know that, Lisa, and I don't want to grill you, but come on now. Deep down, everything here is about winning, and I don't see how this helps you win. There could be an unintended consequence here that backfires. Isn't that something you'd consider, particularly on this issue? And the passage that I read, Melania is not putting any boundaries, saying 15 weeks or anything else. It's pretty open-ended.
Okay, I haven't read the passage.
Okay.
I just heard your comments, so I can't really speak to that.
But you're not worried about that in any way?
I personally am not concerned about that. I know it's a hot topic, but like I said, I hope that the American people will respect her for her opinion and not take that into consideration as a reason not to vote for Donald Trump. There's too many other issues on the table, and believe me, I'm pro-life. I am not for abortion at all. So,
well, look, I hear what you're saying, Lisa, but my point is the thing that is, who knows what people, how this gets used or not used, and that's why I say it's out of bounds to be doing it now.
I respect your opinion. I don't necessarily agree with it 100%. I mean, you could be right. It could have its effects on votes, what have you.
Well, what I'm saying, Lisa, no, am I not right? Why take a chance on that? This point in time, do we need Melania Trump to be weighing in on abortion in this manner?
Well, not necessarily does she have to be weighing in on it, but the fact that she did, you can't change that now. What's done is done. So just respect what she thinks, her opinion, and move on. And hopefully and prayerfully it will not have any effect or little effect on someone's voting decision.
Well, Lisa, thank you. Thanks for being the first one to call in. So should we just ignore it, that it's out there public? I just think in 30 days out in this, wrong time to be doing this in this kind of public matter. And the only thing I can relate to is in a marriage. If you're in that situation, you know, would you say, well, I have a right to my opinion, and you know it's something your husband or wife in a particular situation might be negative for them? I'm not sure that it is negative, by the way. Does this give more of a vibe? You know, Trump might think along these lines, and it indicates Trump put the right people on the court. Legally, this should go to the states. But there's no way that Donald Trump is going to be signing a national abortion ban. Does it spin that way? All I'm saying is this a very public matter. Do you do something like this close to the election? All right, let's go to Bo in Levittown. He's on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Bo.
Hey, Dom, you know what? She shouldn't be talking about it now, but my point is, who gets affected by abortion the most? Where are all the Planned Parenthoods at? They're in depressed communities.
Yes.
The minorities are the most of the people that get the abortions, unfortunately. So by definition, these people that want these virtue signaling PhD moms, soccer moms from Bucks County, they want to virtue signal out, but they're actually saying, you know what, we want minority babies to be aborted. In my opinion, that's how I look at it. And here's what else I have to say: we're taking our kids out in the suburbs. You know, our wives are taking our daughters to the OBGYNs to practice safe sex and get birth control and everything else. Why can't there be more education regarding that need? I mean, I'm a pro-life person, and I, certainly feel bad for all these babies that don't have a chance at having life. But that's don't bring it up now, Melania. Don't talk
there you
about
go,
it.
Bo. You know what, Bo? I'm so glad you said, isn't it freeing that we can actually talk and talk radio? Because I have one goal, as you know, and that is winning here. So time and place, I don't think, because I can't assess how this goes, Bo. I mean, I don't think it kills Trump or anything, but it's a weird thing to be doing this now.
I agree with you. Here's the thing, though. I think future President Trump is buttoned up in his approach to it. And I think you have to keep on pointing out that they want to kill a baby up to the point of birth. There's no reasonable 15-week threshold as they have in Europe.
We saw that. We saw that masterfully done the other night by J.D. Vance, despite all them cutting him off and everything else. But when you say that, it has to be calm as he was and detailed. That's what Trump has to do if he's going to talk about it. It's true. 8 babies were even allowed to be birthed and then expire after that in Minnesota, after the bill was changed and passed by Walz. That's true.
So anybody with common sense, realizes the three exceptions, and even Hillary Clinton back in the day say it should be rare.
Bill Clinton.
From that standpoint.
Yeah,
Bill
exactly.
Clinton too.
Hey,
I mean, just stick to that message. And Dom, I enjoy the show as always.
Thank you, Bo. Who's your pitch person?
Who's my pitch person?
Yes.
Did somebody say Billy Mays?
Yeah, Billy Mays is off.
Billy Mays is off. So my pitch person, I don't know the lady's name, but she does that clean stuff. That blonde-haired woman, and she also does the whatchamacall for the fruit now that you spray on the fruit. She's pretty good. I forgot her name. She's very successful.
Oh, the spray on the fruit thing. I know that one. Put that down. Henry, do you know her name?
No, let me get to the bottom of that.
Okay. All right. I know the spray on the fruit thing. You know how much stuff is on fruit. All right. Coming up, Linda Kearns. I was very impressed last night with what went on with the volunteers being trained up to be a poll watcher. How precise, Linda, and the RNC are in coaching people so that there's no trouble, but they know what their rights are, what they're there to do. But we got a couple of other things on her. And Scott Presler is still out there making noise. We're trying to talk to Republicans. How come with Trump coming to Butler, Pennsylvania, the State Department's machine, the voting part of it, will be shut down from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. for maintenance this Saturday when Trump's in Butler in front of 50 to 80,000 people. Is Dan rubbing off on me? Maybe. Sounds conspiratorial to me. All right, here's how you get in. Don't think just pitch person. Think of somebody that was the spokesperson, like OJ for Hertz. And do you remember where you were? And these guys, I mean, Henry and Dan, not much recollection of what happened 25 years ago when OJ was acquitted. I remember the moments. Oh, my God. And the scene in the courtroom. Where were you? Were you at work and watching it? What was it like? 855-839-1210. That's how you get in. Let's talk Captain Chucky's. Now's a great time to call and visit your nearest Captain Chucky's and let them handle all your meal planning. The fan favorite, always to remember, is the Smith Island crab cake, jumbo lump. And don't forget the mega colossal crab cake's delicious. It's October, and it's time to stock up. Check out the variety of homemade soups for a quick, delicious meal. Perfect time, too, to check out all the offerings, those sides, those desserts. Get a tray or two for your football viewing party or Phillies this Saturday. Visit Captain Chucky's, several choices of breaded, non-breaded crab cakes. Literally a crab cake for everybody. The golf shrimp, Phillies game this week. Perfect for that. Huge hit. Always wild caught, never farm raised. And my favorite, those delicious Dom rolls. There's one way to access all of Captain Chucky's. Just go to welovecrabcakes.com, welovecrabcakes.com. Everything you need to know about Captain Chucky's is there. And if you're headed to the shore, don't forget Captain Chucky's at theshore.com.
Your weeknights are getting a whole lot better. Starting Monday, October 7th with Jimmy Fallon, 7 to 10 p.m.
I met Diddy. Diddy had a restaurant, and he used to walk around with a bottle of champagne in his hands, which is a little weird. You know what I'm saying? If the guy who's the proprietor is drinking straight out of the bottle, it makes you wonder if the Board of Health has some reservations.
And Walter Sterling, 10 to 1.
I hate tolls. I don't believe in them charging $1 more to go over the river. What the hell is that about? What did I get for that going from $5 to $6? These are criminal events.
Listen weeknights starting October 7th on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-3183. That's 800-291-3183. 800-291-3183.
The leaves are changing color, the air is crisp, and it's the perfect time to fall into savings on a luxurious new Volvo from Cherry Hill Volvo. Take advantage of these incredible offers. A 2025 XC40 for only $435 per month on a 36-month lease. A 2024 C40 for only $329 per month on a 36-month lease. Or get 3.99% financing on select new Volvos for 72 months. See store for details. Customers enjoy the stress-free and satisfactory experience Cherry Hill Volvo provides. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter.
Hey, it's Rich. As the early winter is coming, water will freeze and thaw around your property and into your foundation, and that's when the worst damage will happen. I used to worry about water, but then Garden State Earthworks solved my water problem for good. When we had our wet basement, it was caused by excess outside stagnant water. We called Garden State Earthworks. They assessed and drained the water away once and for all. Call the guy I trust, Lou Vargo at Garden State Earthworks, 856-848-4444 or GardenStateEarthworks.com.
Turn off the financial news and turn on a great retirement. Find out how with Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and on the free Odyssey app.
All right, Dom Giordano show. Look, I'm refreshing that Lisa called in and Bo called in, and they differed a little bit on Melania Trump. If this were just any petty issue that she writes about in her memoirs, I wouldn't bring it up. But when it comes down to abortion, it's interesting, and there's no limitation on it here. How does that cut? Hard to say. Could argue, as I was there in a minute, yeah, one part of me says it's indicative of what I think Trump is. There's no way that Trump is going to do a national abortion ban. It's just not. But he can't say that in a way that's like, come on, look at my life here. Do you think I'm doing a national abortion ban? He wouldn't want to be that blatant. It's all muddying the waters, and this muddies it a bit more. All right, Linda Kearns has been just a great go-to. And last night, I was invited to see a little bit of the training for poll watchers and to, give like a win one for the Gipper speech. I didn't do any of that because the people that are engaged in this, they're too important. What they're doing, what they're giving up to be our eyes and ears all over the place. Across Pennsylvania. Linda Kearns with us here on Talk Radio 1210. Linda, great operation last night.
Thank you, Dom. And I actually have a little bit of breaking news for you. The Pennsylvania Secretary of State changed their system maintenance window for Saturday night. They are now holding off until 10 p.m. on Saturday night, which is that's awesome because most people don't register after 10 p.m. Most people are in bed by then. So that new time, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., will allow all of the people who go to the rally and look at their phones and want to check the website to be able to do it. And so this is what happens when, good citizens and patriots demand action from their government. I wanted to let you know that's fixed.
That is wonderful. Now, were you involved in that? We know Scott Presler has been camping out there on this one. Were you involved?
Tom, I can't give away all my secrets.
Okay.
I mean, come on.
All right.
Come on. Like,
you know what? This is a good faith effort, but let me go back, and I don't want to look, like the bad guy here on this. They got to realize, they got to be sensitive to this, and changing this is a good thing, Linda. But who's making these decisions and not getting? You can't be doing maintenance on anything now unless it's in the wee small hours, right?
Well, I mean, Tom, isn't that why we're conservatives and why we're patriots? Because we don't want to depend on government for anything. I mean, we don't want them doing anything. So I think that this it reinforces why we vote the way we do and why we believe that putting President Donald J. Trump back in the White House is really going to put this country on the right path and make us great once again.
Absolutely. And again, you and I share this, and I think a lot of listeners too. We want to come out of this election that there's not anything here that is just so suspicious that we can't stand it, like happened in 2020, several things. You were involved in it. I mean, what would it have taken down there at the convention center to allow you to get up close? They had enough money they could have put plexiglass around people and let you eyeball it from 2 or 3 feet away instead of having to get binoculars. So this is an improvement that they listened on this.
Right. And Dom, sometimes it does take time to get results. And I am convinced that that what we've learned in 2020 and then obviously in 2022 in the senator election, we built on that. And I've said before on your show, Chairman Whatley came to me at the beginning of the year and said, what do we need for the best operation in Pennsylvania? And we really cooperated and built a really awesome, thorough Protect the Vote operation. And I've been to the new Canvas Center. We're not counting at the convention center anymore. And while some things haven't changed yet because our legislature really did not act in the last 4 years. So the legislature did not act to change some of these laws, and I hope that they act after this election. But the changes that we could get, we got, and we are a lot closer to the action. And as I said before, I had attorneys there during our special election, which occurred on September 17th, to be able to look and see exactly what we can see. And I'm going to have training for all of the people who are watching the canvas for us, the mail ballot canvas, so they know exactly what to look for. And unfortunately, in 2020, we didn't have that opportunity because they kind of hit us with all that mail balloting stuff. So this is different, and we're ready. And speaking of training, we got such positive remarks about you talking to our volunteers last night. So I can't thank you enough, because our volunteers that come on protectthevote.com and sign up and send us messages and say, we're available and we'll do what you need. They're so valuable to our operation. And you getting on there and reminding them that they're the heart of the operation was just priceless.
I got to tell you, I did it for you and the right thing. It was a tough spot, though, because all I could say to them was, I am just impressed beyond belief. I know this is not a glamorous thing to be doing, and I heard the legal stuff that you had to tell them about do this, don't do this. And I looked at one point, there were 100 people on the video call or so. This is fabulous. How many people are actually, how many do you have that you personally through this, what you're doing when you Protect the Vote, are going to be involved?
Right. So we have those trainings multiple times a week, both in person and on the web. I think I have a webinar scheduled on Saturday, and then another one scheduled, I think, next Tuesday, and then there'll be one next Tuesday night, Wednesday night. So we have them scheduled weekly. I was just asked this on an interview yesterday about exactly how many volunteers we have, and I had our comms person on with me so she could rattle off those facts, which I did not have in my head, and I don't have in my head now. I can tell you tens of thousands, but I can get you the right number so that the next time I'm on,
yes.
I can be real specific. But we have, as you know, I know you call him the no-neck guy, Joe DeFelice, my ride or die. He is in charge of Philly, and he is just killing it with recruiting people and just doing such a great job. But we need more people. So if you want to help President Trump, you go to protectthevote.com, give us your information. We'll immediately contact you for training, and we will slot you for Election Day. And we're just beginning to start, slotting people so we know where everyone will be, and that process will take us a couple weeks. And then we reach out to everybody and let them know.
Do you think half or more of Philadelphia will be covered by Republican, in this case, minority poll watchers?
So there's two types of coverage. One is to get a Republican actually as a worker on the election board, to actually sit behind the table.
Right.
And check people in. And that's if you weren't elected to that position in 2021, there's the ability to appoint people to that position. And then the other thing is a poll watcher, someone who sits in the poll and observes. And I can tell you that our goal is to actually have presence in every 1,703 polling places in Philadelphia, and I can tell you that I feel like we're well on our way, but we can always use more people because I also recognize things happen. You know, we might expect somebody that day and they could get sick or have a problem with their children, which is why we have not taken the foot off the gas as far as recruiting people. It's just so important.
Absolutely.
And, you know, when people do poll watch, they come back afterwards and say, I'm so glad I was part of the process. I didn't really realize what it involved. And so it's a good experience.
Absolutely. One other area, too, due to you coming on, I think was on Monday when we had this kerfuffle about humidity in Pennsylvania causing envelopes to stick together and all, and maybe some funny business. We got on the commissioner, and I think he answered what he thinks happened here, but we're still keeping an eye on this stuff because I don't think it was that humid. Maybe it was the rain that somehow or another this happened. What do you think about what he said when he came on?
Well, all I can tell you is my MasterCard bill is never sealed shut when it comes.
Yeah.
My phone bill is never sealed shut. The mortgage company bill is never sealed shut. So I don't know what happened, and I'm sure we're gonna find out about it. But we might not find out right away. So
okay.
All I know is that we are concentrating on November 5th, and I want our voters to treat that ballot like it's a precious, precious gift. And if it's damaged in some way when you get it, go right back to your Board of Elections, and we have these satellite election offices in Philly where they also have these ballots available. Hand in the damaged one and get a new, fresh one, fill it out right there, and then hand it right back to them, because I don't want any of our voters taping up ballots or doing anything like that. They should treat that like the lottery ticket that it is.
That's the line. Yeah, save that line because I've already made a move to steal it. It's the lottery ticket. Exactly. A winning lottery ticket. Yes.
Wait, you're stealing my line?
Oh, absolutely. I told Dan that already. She never said it, Dan. You're my witness. He's sworn to that. We have the affidavit right here.
Well, I think I heard you. You're going to have John Yu on later, and
yes.
He's my buddy, and I'm going to listen. If you offer him Eagles tickets, I better have equal Eagles tickets or better. I'm telling you, like that's my demand.
You actually think I have the power to get Eagles tickets?
Yeah.
The only time wait, it happened once. I asked, and I was getting them for Geraldo, of all people. That was back in the day.
Did you go to the game with Geraldo?
We were going to.
Oh.
Yes, but he couldn't do it in the end. He was sick or something. So that's the only time I was able to get that. Yeah.
No, I am absolutely not demanding anything of you guys, because you're helping to get the word out that you and your station and the other hosts and your producers, they're such patriots, and it's getting the word out, because it's not always easy to get the word out, and you are helping us, and I cannot be more grateful, and the RNC could not be more grateful, and President Trump could not be more grateful, because it's getting the word out to people
and
Linda, how to vote. And
Dawn is going to be on the call on Saturday.
Dawn is on Saturday, and Rich is next. I think it's next Tuesday, and it's great because these volunteers, they need to understand how valuable they are, and I know that we talk about a lot of stuff on the training, and it can be a little bit dense. So I feel if we start off with somebody with such a great personality like you or Dawn or Rich, it kind of sets the stage for our volunteers.
Well, it was a pleasure and an honor. Really, I mean that. So, Linda, one more time, where do people go?
Please go to protectthevote.com to sign up to volunteer. And we also have this amazing website, swampthevote.com. You can go on that to find out how to request your mail ballot, check your registration. It's a portal that will lead you right to the Secretary of State website. So we have all the tools here for you to help you to exercise your precious right to vote. And it is so precious. So if you do get that ballot and it's damaged at all, please just go return it and demand that they give you a new one.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Denny in Pennsburg on Talk Radio 1210 on the Melania quote here on abortion. Hey, Denny, what do you think about it?
How you doing?
Good.
Well, I've been listening to you for years. I can tell by your voice you're even worried about it. I can tell when you first come on. That's what I'm thinking. Well, I'm going to tell you this. I've been arguing with my relatives, 5 sons, 5 daughter-in-laws, 5 son-in-laws, 3 daughter-in-laws, people in Alabama relatives, people in Pittsburgh and Butler, right where Corey was killed. And I'm telling you, that woman's wasting her time worrying about the polls because they will not vote. It was very important to them. And they watered the platform down to start with for 2016. And that made them all mad. So I've been arguing for Trump for months. Every time I meet one, I'm arguing about it.
Well, Denny, I mean, all this indicates is her position, not Trump. But I hear your concern. Thank you, Denny. So we'll talk about this a little bit more. Look, I don't know if Fox is talking about this aspect of it from the Melania book or not. All I know is when I see something like that, it's something we ought to talk about. I feel what Lisa said. I get it. It's her opinion, not Trump's. May even cut for Trump. You heard Denny saying, well, this cuts away from Trump's pro-life thing. Are people that are pro-life really not going to vote because of what Melania Trump puts down? Pretty short-sighted, but again, I only worry about, I can't figure out what people vote on at times. It's not rational.
You know the left's going to try and weaponize this, and I think it's crucially important to get ahead of it as conservatives and have a discussion as to how to address it as well.
Well, we played you The View, Dan. You weren't there. We played The View, and already they're saying this shows how much Melania Trump doesn't want to be first lady and hates him. That's preposterous based upon what we know, but it gives them something to talk about, something that they throw out there and see if it sticks. I don't know why you'd want to be doing that at this point. You can do it at other points. Now, 30 days out, 855-839-1210. We're coming to your calls. NFL Week 5 is here. You can start with a chance for a big win on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're new to FanDuel, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place that first $5 bet. I'm taking Baker Mayfield, the Buccaneers at Falcons tonight. Falcons look a little bit better, and I thought that guy is not going to go over passing yards. Go under tonight. Drake London, over receiving yards maybe. Bijan Robinson, anytime touchdown. Yes, they run him a lot. Just visit FanDuel.com/Dom to make every moment more this season because FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online, real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Kale & Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Great veteran herself, Rebecca Cornell. What message would you give to somebody that's younger, that's listening to this show, that is eligible to serve, but might be hesitant with all the conflict that's going on right now and possible fear of deployment?
It was fearful. Thankfully, everyone that I went and deployed with came back home. It was something that helped me grow as a person. Someone wanting to join the military and stepping into that uncomfortability is what really allows us to grow.
Start your day with Kale & Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
The exclusive crash-proof retirement system is tried and true, outperforming the market through the worst of economic times, as it did for crash-proof consumer Larry Kipp. In 2007, Mr. Kipp's crash-proof system earned 15.8% interest, outperforming the S&P. When the crash of 2008 struck and the market dropped over 37%, his crash-proof system lost nothing. Mr. Kipp did not have to recover from the crash. His system credited 10.8% interest permanently to his account, as others tried to recoup what they already had.
People talking about all the money that they lost, and I could sit there and say, well, I didn't lose any. I knew that I couldn't lose principal, and so when the crash came, I knew my money was safe. I would say that there is a crash-proof retirement. I have proof of it.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Spring Mill Country Club on October 16th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
The following is a paid commercial message.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. So many of you have told me about your plans for the future. Starting a business, buying a home, retiring near your grandchildren. But prices are too high. So let me tell you what I will do about it as president. I will take on price gouging. I will lower the cost of healthcare insurance. We cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. I'm running to do that for everyone. And I will provide new down payment assistance to first-time home buyers and tax benefits to people who want to start their own business. Donald Trump, well, he wants to give more tax breaks to the wealthy, whereas I will cut taxes for the middle class instead. Because I know working people want to do more than just get by. You want to get ahead, and that's the future you deserve. And that is what I will focus on every day as your president. Paid for by Harris for President.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by calling 844-300-LEAF to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water, and it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty, so you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Call Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate and to save up to 30%. Dial 844-300-LEAF. That's 844-300-LEAF.
Yo, Roy is Ford. We know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT.
All right, Dom Giordano show. John Yoo coming up. Brilliant attorney breaking down this Jack Smith 165-page indictment. I gave you my take, but I'm a law school dropout, what it means, and it is election interference. Also, we'll play you Ron DeSantis bringing in the National Guard to ports, and it seems to me he is indicating there's a possibility of resuming operations with them. Does that mean they would unload the ships? If that happens, wow. All right, 855-839-1210. Grab a line, get on board. John Yoo next on Talk Radio 1210.
Your weeknights are getting a whole lot better. With Jimmy Fallon 7 to 10 p.m. starting Monday, October 7th.
Honestly, I do mean this. What an incredible honor to join this lineup because, like, the thing you guys do that matters to me, you guys know your listeners. You hang out with them, you meet them, you do events. Like, that to me is amazing. That's why I got into radio. Is like, you want to be a part of the community. Like, I'm always on tour doing live events. I want to be part of the community, which is a fancy way of me saying I got to get out of New York a lot because I owe a lot of people money. But the point is,
Jimmy Fallon, weeknights 7 to 10 p.m. starting October 7th on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvos studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
All right, he is a Philly guy, even though he's on the West Coast, and he's one of the best attorneys imaginable on things like what we're seeing with lawfare here. That's why he's such a go-to guy with us. He is the Emanuel S. Heller Professor of Law at Berkeley. Believe he's a big Eagles fan, too. John Yoo back with us here in Philadelphia. John, welcome home. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. I was a big Eagles fan until this last weekend. We don't get to see the games out of California.
Okay.
So I only follow them, on ESPN or NFL, and I couldn't tell what the hell was going on. How are they getting so few yards and such few points?
Oh, it's terrible, John.
Well, how about a massive lawsuit on Nick Sirianni here? We'll be the first we'll have you on retainer for that, John. All right, so, John, this dropping of this, now people remember when we've had you on before and Rich and other shows, and nationally when we see you on Fox, you were involved in some of the thorniest issues, particularly during the Bush years. Gitmo, things of that nature. I don't know if you know, I broadcast from Gitmo, so you were uppermost in my mind. Some of the things you've said around the interrogations and the stuff that went on there. And I actually got to see not the principal, but some of the principals playing soccer right in front of me. And they would have murdered me by the time they got done their sandwich. They had picnic tables there, too. So, John, how unusual is this, what Jack Smith and this judge have concocted? I don't think it's legally election interference, but in the broad sense of it, it is.
Well, as you mentioned, Dom, I worked at the Justice Department in the months and years after 9/11.
John, we have a little problem there with the sound. I'm not sure, guys, what's going on. Okay, yeah, we'll fix that. Okay, John, go ahead. Okay, little difficulty. As I said, John was involved in some of the biggest federal cases, Supreme Court cases, thorniest issues imaginable. All right, John.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay.
As you said, I worked at the Justice Department right after 9/11, and it pains me to see the Justice Department acting, which to me, it looks like a blatantly partisan way to affect the election outcome. And the reason I say that is because if you look carefully at the filing that the special counsel dropped yesterday, I mean, unfortunately, if the Eagles aren't on, I'm reading all 165 pages of that thing. The Phillies aren't on either, but with baseball, you can read 165 pages at the same time you watch the game. But I read the damn thing, and there's nothing really new in it. And so it's the same charges, same basic facts that the special counsel has brought already, and which has gotten smacked back by the U.S. Supreme Court. And so there's no way the trial could be held before the election. So you have to ask yourself, why is the Justice Department releasing this document now? And the only reason that makes sense is because they're trying to influence the election. I think that's what makes me unhappy about my former colleagues at the Justice Department, is that there's no reason to try to rush this kind of these accusations, which Trump can't rebut because there's no way it would go to trial before the election, which Trump can't rebut. It's a one-sided attack, and there's no reason to do it now other than to try to get it out right before the election.
And John, in your role there or with your colleagues, don't you think it's a good idea not to, after the day after the debate, where Walz didn't do well at all, to be dropping something like this? I mean, how does that look? I'm not saying they sat there that I know and said, yeah, let's take the stink away from that. Let's drop this today. But you got to give a little space on these things, you would think.
I can't go that far because this one, I think the timing of it was actually under the control of the judge here in Washington. Okay. So Justice Department released it. They've been pushing to get it out in October. The judge chose to release it yesterday. But here's another question. This judge also had a chance to accelerate this case, to try to get it in before the election. So another question you have to ask is, why is this judge in Washington, D.C., allowing the release of this indictment. It takes a judge's approval to do it, and the judge signed off, and it came out yesterday. This is, I think, an effort to influence the election.
Yes, and, people are not getting expert commentary like yours necessarily. They're getting little stuff here and there, maybe some wild accusation that's in here that's intriguing, particularly around Mike Pence. And I get it, why people would hear that, and, the back and forth between Pence and Trump, that's where they're going to put it in the news. John, the thing that I think here, too, with Jack Smith, as far as the document, we're coming back to, again, he's pretty much saying, well, there can be fraud, but it has to be determinative fraud, meaning it determines the election. That's the only way that you can be leading the charge. Otherwise, he's in your mind and saying, this is fraudulent. This didn't turn the election. So if you're Trump anyhow, you can't be talking about it.
Yeah, this is why this whole thing that was filed is misconceived, because this is all about whether Trump gets immunity or not. And so you're right, Don, to hone in on the conversations between Trump and Pence. The reason why is because the Supreme Court just this summer, just 3 months ago, focused exactly on those conversations to say those conversations likely cannot be used at trial against Trump, because part of the president's job is to talk to the vice president. And the court said when the president's doing his job, when he's using his constitutional authority, he can't be prosecuted.
Yeah, John, the thing that interests me, too, look, I'm a law school dropout. You know that. But if I were doing this, I'd have to get into, if it comes down to this, if this ever goes to trial, if Trump loses, it will, trying to get inside the mind.
Extensive discussions.
Yeah. Trying to get into the mind of Trump as far as, he's all over the place. It's his natural style, and he doesn't want to give too much away, and he talks out loud about things. It's not easy to ascertain at any one point exactly what he's saying and what he's doing, more so, I would argue, than most people. And it's a mind reading thing here that I can't see how in the world we would send people off to jail by exercising mind reading.
And that's another thing the Supreme Court reminded us this summer, is the court said you can't prosecute a president based on his state of mind, because the president's thinking about 100 things at once. He's responsible for protecting the country and making sure the economy's working well, and you're going to try to convict him, say he tried to commit some giant fraud of the U.S. because of a few stray comments by White House staffers that might overheard him. And you're exactly right. Trump speaks out loud, right? He's not, he's saying all kinds of things. He probably changes his mind a lot. And so you could read this indictment and say, the alternate theory here, you could say, was, well, Trump didn't know who won the election, and he was asking questions, a lot of staffers. Sometimes you ask a question, what about this? Tell me what. And maybe he was saying, let's see how far this process goes. If it goes, people produce more information. That's not to commit a crime.
John, one parting area, too, due to your expertise. John Yoo with us here on Talk Radio 1210. So we have the Inspector General yesterday, and this has started to flare up, sending signals that he wants to apparently issue his report now or imminent about the federal assets that were involved on the ground, et cetera, on January 6th. And the charge seems to be that the Justice Department is holding that one up. So we're rushing this, but we're holding that up. And that doesn't excuse every action on January 6th or anything else. But I think if we hear there were 50 FBI people involved in this, it's in the mind of voters, it's going to give them some pause to be thinking about all the elements of this.
Yeah, so first, the Inspector General at the Justice Department has done a really good job, even though his job is to criticize his own department. Remember, he's the one who said that FBI Director Jim Comey had committed obstruction of justice or lying, even though Comey was the FBI director, when they were trying to figure out where the obstruction hoax comes from and all this Steele dossier stuff. I think if the Inspector General at DOJ has something to say, he should be allowed to say it and say it right away. But the second thing is, look, what the Justice Department has done with the special counsel has undermined people's faith in the rule of law. And so what's really important is for the Biden administration and their Justice Department to try to do what they can to restore people's faith in the integrity of law enforcement. And so lots of people have questions about how much was the FBI infiltrating into these groups on January 6th. Make it all public, because that's going to help people trust law enforcement more. And if you withhold that information, it's just going to compound the problems people already have with the enforcement of the law by the Biden administration.
Without a doubt. John, how do you look at the Phillies, particularly if it's against the Mets? What do you see?
Oh, my God, I hate the Mets. In true Philadelphia fashion, I just root to hate the other team.
That's exactly right. That's why we love it. That is a considered legal opinion. John, thank you as always. John, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Don. Thanks, guys. Great to be with you again.
John Hugh here on Talk Radio 1210. All right, 855-839-1210. How does this play out in the minds of voters? It's all part now. They seem to be reduced to abortion and January 6th again. All right, we had a ton of people calling in. Melania Trump, in her memoir, The Guardian got this. I guess Ainsley did the first interview on Fox. Maybe she had it. But it's only come to light today that she's talking about a woman's right to choose, and there's no boundary. I'm looking at the exact language here. So, Dan, you think, apparently, this could cut toward Trump and or conspiratorially that everybody was in on it because it takes them out of worries on national
The way
abortion
I
ban.
see this is I can't imagine that Melania Trump puts out a book and she doesn't float it by the campaign, idea makers first. And I don't think this is a campaign strategy by any means, because I don't think it necessarily helps Trump too much. But I think this probably came across their desk and they saw Melania was going to offer her opinion on abortion. They're like, you know what? Maybe it further, and I'm going to use the term that sounds negative, but I think it's positive, it further muddies the waters around the topic of abortion. And I think there are a lot of people out there. I speak from experience here. I'm obviously a conservative individual. Maisie's very conservative on a lot of issues, but the topic of abortion makes her, consider voting left. My friend Justin's the same. I can go over and over. There are tons of men in my generation that lean conservative and have a wife that, has this topic of abortion. So Melania now expressing this thought, I think really opens up the door for Trump to say to a lot of men out there who are living in this type of situation, hey, this is a way to essentially sell it to your wife. My wife, too, has the same thoughts. And this is, again, reinforcing this is why it should be a state's issue. People have different thoughts on this topic. My wife clearly has a different stance on this topic than I do. You know my stance. I've made it very clear. But it allows him an out campaign strategically on the topic of abortion, furthering taking that away as a strategy for Democrats. And I honestly think it's genius.
All right, 855-839-1210. I don't, because I think my sense of the people running the campaign, they would go, oh, my God, do we need this at this point? Trump has done a good enough job of letting people see that he's not going to go for a national abortion ban or anything like that.
I look at the timing, I think October surprise. You put Melania, you get her a book out this close to the election where every single commercial, everything, every issue that the Democrats are talking about is abortion. Take that away from them a month before the election. I think that's a pretty good strategy.
Just one fly in the ointment here. I mean, I haven't seen line by line. I think it was 2 interviews, Hannity and Ainsley. If there are more, I haven't seen it talked about. So I don't understand how it helps. In other words, if she enunciates this in the interview, this is her view and exactly what it means. But it appears to be no limit on abortion. I don't see that as exactly could be what she believes.
I mean, we're also living in 2024 where husbands and wives don't necessarily agree on everything, especially politics, and we're not electing Melania to be the next president. We're electing her husband.
But I am living in 2024. I agree with you, and there's a cardinal rule.
I'm not saying you're not. I don't want conservatives to go down this path.
I'm not saying what I was going to say. There's a cardinal rule, though. I'm very sensitive to something that might negatively. You can imagine Rose got the burden of me and what I do publicly. And she is a much calmer piece, the whole thing and all. And she deals with it beautifully. But I realize what the burden is. Suppose Roe then has a completely an opinion thrown into it versus what I routinely stand for. It's not right to be going public with it. That's the way I see it.
I disagree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not going to
put to be quite honest, it's Maisie's choice not to come on the show, but I've invited her on to express her thoughts of abortion. I'd be happy for her to come on and tell her thoughts.
All right, it's 855-839-1210.
And I think I could justify our position, and I think essentially win them over in the end game.
All right. Well,
and I think, to my point, I think this further allows ammo for that, to try to win over the wives that might be hesitant because of this abortion stance.
Okay, so that could be. Now, I just worry about unintended consequence. I don't see the gain worth. What's the downside? Are pro-lifers? And we had one caller who said, nope, that's it with Trump. This is too much.
They're not going to not vote for Trump.
Right.
Pro-lifers are heavy voters. They're going to come out to the polls, and they're not going to vote for Kamala Harris. There's no way that they're going to
Some of them may not vote. That's true.
You really think they're going to stay at home because of this?
They might be gathering. There is a wing of the pro-life that thinks that Trump hasn't gone far enough. We've heard that already.
Yes. What are you going to do? You're going to enable Kamala to win?
I hear you. I mean, it would be hard to believe, particularly if they're religious and they don't vote. I just think that's kind of strange. But 855-839-1210. Hit us with that all-time spokesperson, OJ, not guilty. I didn't say innocent. I just said not guilty today on 2 murders. Hit us on that, though. It's a curious choice to me to be putting this out in the memoir at this point. She didn't talk about it with the Fox host. So if she did, that would have been interesting. Will she talk about it with anyone? CNN apparently wanted to do the interview. There was a big bidding war over it, and they wouldn't do it in the end. We'll see if she appears any place where there would be a lot of back and forth. 855-839-1210. That's how you get in right now with Dom on Talk Radio 1210.
Dr. Marty Makari. First of all, I got to tell you off the record, my kids have lice. Any advice?
There is a good protocol for lice, but it's a lot more common than people think.
So I'm not going to die or anything, right?
You're going to live.
He's a world-renowned surgeon at Johns Hopkins, and you're wasting his time talking about lice.
That seems like the most apt thing to ask a professor of medicine.
Exactly. I loved his answer. He's like, yeah, it's really common.
Like, shut up. Why are you asking me this? My time is valuable.
Rich Cioli, weekday afternoons, 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
Did you know that thousands of New Jersey cats need your help? Over 1,800 cats and dogs were euthanized in New Jersey shelters, most being cats. Animal Welfare Association's Trap Neuter Return Program humanely controls cat populations, saving lives. The mobile animal sterilization hospital clinics provide affordable spay-neuter services. Plus, AWA's Raining Cats program has found homes for more than 400 cats in the last 90 days. Join us in making a difference. Donate or adopt at awanj.org.
Roofing or siding issues? Don't wait. Call Emmons Roofing and Siding.
We provide comprehensive roofing and siding services with a focus on quality and customer satisfaction. And our warranties ensure peace of mind for you and your family.
Protect your home with the best warranties available in the industry.
Call Emmons at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
In a world filled with financial information, Citizens can help you make sense of it. So whether you're listening to that new financial podcast that's hotter than your morning coffee, flipping through that financial guru's 1,000-page book on simple finances, or getting tips from a coworker that actually sound kind of interesting, you're ready to make the most of it. Make sense of your money with Citizens. Learn more at citizensbank.com/made-ready.
Hey, Paoli. We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, Dom Giordano Show. Welcome in. 855-839-1210. We'll talk with Sean Parnell, who will be in Butler for the Trump speech, the return, which is going to be iconic this coming Saturday night. And if you heard from Linda Kearns, the news, the Secretary of State, the website that controls voter registration in Pennsylvania, has relented. And Scott Presler was on this right from the beginning. They were going to do maintenance from 6 p.m. on Saturday to 2. Presler told us he might register 500 people at that rally or more. And now they're going to move it back, I believe, to 10 o'clock is what she said, the start of it. So it's an indicator that people are on this stuff. Every bit of this here in Pennsylvania and more is being scrutinized. All right, you heard Dan and I talking about the Melania Trump excerpt and how this plays out. And again, this election, I don't care what anyone else says, is so tight, particularly here in Pennsylvania, that any number of things in the end, turnout being the biggest, are people inspired enough to actually come out and vote or to vote mail-in ballot. Parnell is in charge of mail-in ballot in Pennsylvania, so we'll get an update. In Philadelphia, I see no way Democrats are going to win by 500,000 votes as Bob Brady did. If they do, then they're probably going to win Pennsylvania, but I don't think they're going to win by that number. I think that's a huge pipe dream, to put it mildly. And we'll see as we get closer to that what indicators are out there. All right, we also have Ron DeSantis. And DeSantis, I know some of the challenges he had during the primaries, but boy, when it comes to getting into the ring and actually positioning himself, this guy is great. He's on the strike now. Florida's got several ports, of course. Here's what he said. He's bringing in the National Guard.
Now we have this situation where you have these ports are being shut down across the East Coast and the Gulf Coast of the United States. This has the potential of really disrupting the hurricane recovery and of hurting the people who were victims of the storm. And I don't think it's right to try to cripple the recovery that our storm victims are undergoing. We want to accelerate the recovery and do all we can to make that happen. What is going on in this work stoppage will negatively impact the distribution of cargo, and that will include perishable foods, medical equipment, home goods, electronics, machinery, apparel, vehicles, vehicle parts, lumber, steel, as well as other essential construction and hurricane supplies. At Port Everglades in southeast Florida, about 41% of businesses at 2 of the 5 terminals will be impacted. At Port Miami, strike will affect about 50% of the port's cargo capacity at 3 of its container terminals. And at Jacksport, about 1/3 of the commerce, particularly international container volumes and international vehicle volumes, will be impacted. This could lead, and indeed, if it goes on longer, will lead to significant supply chain disruptions. This will cause delays in the delivery of critical goods, and it will result in inventory shortages. Economic forecasts show that for every 36 hours this continues is equal to 1 week of supply chain disruptions. Do we have time for weeks of disruptions, given all that's happened in communities in Florida and throughout the Southeast? I don't think so.
All right, so he's deploying the National Guard as the bottom line to keep order, but it also said something. It seems like he's giving an ultimatum At a certain point, the National Guard would intervene here and be involved with those supplies. So it's not just the average American with this jerk that runs the longshoremen. We're going to cripple you and everything else. We're talking about the hurricane victims. Now, are people going to say, well, you can't intervene in this? This is a work stoppage. The only thing you can do is Taft-Hartley. I think DeSantis is saying, you know what? In my state with the National Guard, we are going to intervene. Now, what's going to happen then? Is this big mouth who runs the longshoremen going to say, well, we'll get into it with the National Guard? You're not going to unload those ships? Got to love DeSantis.
I do have the Coast Guard comment if you want.
Yep, the Coast Guard. Okay.
That would be used for things that we need that may end up being rerouted. So Florida's open. We want to use our resources to be able to get all this stuff to the market so that people are able to use what they do. We have 16 different deep water seaports. We will work with you to get critical commodities to shore and promptly plugged into the supply chain. At my direction, the Florida National Guard and Florida State Guard will be deployed to critical ports affected to maintain order and, if possible, resume operations, which would otherwise be shut down during this interruption.
All right, let's stop there. That's a little bit I can't quite tell. But resume operations. One of two things. He means we're not going to let these strikers prevent other people who are not on strike or something from resuming operations, and or the National Guard's going to be involved in this. I am so, look, I'm trying to be fair about this strike with, the automation thing we talked about the other day. But this guy running this and this idea, there's nothing you're going to do to us, and Biden is not going to invoke Taft-Hartley, which was put in here because of the damage. What about the hurricane victims? Well, they're saying the head of this is saying, you didn't care about us. You don't care about union workers. What about our rights? And DeSantis is saying, look, you're going to get a little period of time here. But look at what I'm going to do here. What about the people affected by the hurricane? Well, it's just tough. I have not seen a guy expose more than the head of this longshoreman. The New York Post is doing an incredible job. And I read you at the beginning of the show what he said about Easy Pass. So, Dan, I'll ask you, Henry and I said, yeah, we use self-checkout if we only have X number of items. If you do that, did you ever think you're costing a person a job?
No.
Okay.
It is costing a person a job. I've never had the experience of walking up there like, I don't want to do this. I'm going to go to the cashier to encourage it,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's crowded. Sometimes
I'll be completely honest. There's a lot of times that convenience supersede my morality.
Convenience is fine. I think people have a right to efficiency and convenience. I can't come up with a better example. If there's something where, I'm not going to do that. That's too far over the line with automation. But Easy Pass is a great thing. I mean, just imagine what it was like before that. And all those jobs of toll collectors, essentially, or almost all, have gone away. This guy's saying, nope, we're not going to let you do that. So driverless, trucks and all. No, we don't want that. Unloading the ships and all, though, there might be some degree of automation involved. All right, Sean Parnell is next. We're going to get you an update on how is mail-in balloting going in Pennsylvania and his thoughts as he heads toward Butler. He was right behind President Trump originally when the shooting happened. Apparently, it's going to be an all-out security effort, but this is an iconic moment. Is Trump going to say, as I was saying? Of course I think he will. Are they going to have 40 or 50,000 people there? Is the media going to cover it because this puts the fact that this guy has been shot once and almost 2 times? What they don't want to remind people of, it's amazing how that's not in the public sector anymore. All those questions. All right, getting on the side question, though. Hit us with someone who was the spokesperson, the pitch person for a big-time product. 855-839-1210. You can do that. Hey, tired of relying on caffeine for a quick energy fix? There's a better way to revitalize your body from within. Introducing Oracine by Rescue Natural Supplements, the cellular energizer that helps your body produce its own natural fuel. Say goodbye to daily fatigue and a low to lasting energy. As a bonus, Oracine supports heart health and optimal blood pressure, too. That's why you can't miss out on this exclusive radio offer. Buy one bottle of Oracene, get another absolutely free. Simply use the code FUEL. When you place that order, call today at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable product consultant, or use that code online when you visit res-q.com. res-q.com. Be sure to use that code FUEL, F-U-E-L, for this buy one, get one free offer on Rescue Oracene. Remember the code FUEL at res-q.com and do it today.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Great veteran herself, Rebecca Cornell. What message would you give to somebody that's younger, that's listening to this show, that is eligible to serve, but might be hesitant with all the conflict that's going on right now and possible fear of deployment?
It was fearful. Thankfully, everyone that I went and deployed with came back home. It was something that helped me grow as a person. Someone wanting to join the military and stepping into that uncomfortability is what really allows us to grow.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles. Highly logical. Learn about Navient's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills, too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
This is a commercial for California Psychics, America's most trusted psychic network. So, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. No, really, this is it. You won't see your soulmate's face in the clouds or your career path mapped out in your cappuccino foam. This really is it. We could add some dramatic sound effects if you'd like. So what you waiting for? Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Honey, is our car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My sister just got an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover our repair bills if anything happens to our car, new brakes, a transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait a minute, we pay nothing on the repairs? Ox gets it fixed for us? Free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance? What's the number?
800-224-8517. Ox has a 30-day money-back guarantee and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike other warranty companies. We should call now, 800-224-8517.
The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-224-8517. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care, 800-224-8517, or go to oxcarcare.com.
The Crash Proof Retirement Show will air before and after Penn State football this Saturday. Tune in at 11 a.m., then again right after the game to learn how to create your own Crash Proof Retirement game plan.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
59 overnight, partly cloudy. For tomorrow, some clouds in the morning, but we'll see some sun in the afternoon, high 77. Friday, 77 again. A few clouds here and there, but Saturday, we're supposed to have a lot of sunshine, high 79. Sunday looks about the same, just a little cooler.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. For over 35 years, we've grown by offering our clients more offices, more lawyers, and recovering more than $20 billion. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, broadcasting from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter.
Tom Giordano's show. By the way, I didn't forget, toward the tail end of yesterday, we have the list of the most encountered telephone numbers, either here at the station or on my show, Dan. I'm not exactly sure. And it's interesting, who is the number one by volume caller? I will tell you that by volume, the caller of the year, meaning the best caller last year, is in the mix. So we'll play with that a little bit coming up. This is really interesting stuff about who is it and how many times have they called over a period of time. Captain Sean Parnell was there in Butler 1, Roman numeral 1. Now it's Butler 2. His thoughts on security, President Trump, but also wanted to ask him, he's the point person on mail-in balloting, how that's going on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Sean, welcome back to Philadelphia. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good to be here, Dom.
Well, I would think, Sean, Butler 2 should be a cakewalk, but who knows, given the people that are out there. This is an iconic moment. It'll probably draw some of the really crazies.
Yeah, it is an iconic moment. And let me tell you and your audience that this rally is shaping up to be something that's very, very special. It's going to be different from what people have seen in the past from Trump rallies. This rally is going to be very, very focused on, the state of Pennsylvania, but commemorating the Comprador family and the other two folks from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania who were wounded, honoring all of Butler County, all the first responders. The rally's it's just going to be something very, very special. And yeah, as far as security, I've been at Trump rallies since the second assassination attempt, and let me tell you, they have really ratcheted up security. But what I'm hearing is true. They're still denying Trump full levels of protection, most notably during his trip to Wisconsin. And again, to me, there's just no excuse for that, but it's indicative of a Harris-Biden administration that just does nothing but fail, whether it's protecting President Donald Trump or responding to disaster relief down in America's Southeast. They just literally fail at everything, Tom. It's absolutely stunning.
And Sean,
this election is as close as it is.
They don't even politically cover it up well or even try, it seems like. It's like we have 30 days left in the election, and Biden is stubbornly not even talking about Taft-Hartley. This guy that runs the longshoreman is political gold for the Trump side. He's out of control.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the situation that we live in right now. We have a natural disaster, the likes of which we probably haven't seen since Hurricane Katrina, just enveloping the southeast of this country. If you're North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, those people are really suffering. And FEMA comes out and says 2 days, 3 days after the actual disaster hits. Now, they should be on the front end of it. Hurricanes aren't exactly a surprise, but they come out and say, oh, well, sorry, folks, we're not going to have enough money to get us through hurricane season. There are people on the ground right now suffering and dying, in survival mode, and your government comes out and says that. I'm sorry, that does not breed confidence. It's absolutely horrific. You've got this longshoreman strike at the exact same time that threatens it has closed all of America's ports, threatens to ruin the holiday season, make it even more difficult for Americans to put food on the table for their family. And all those people who are suffering in the Southeast, you're trying to rebuild your home. Well, guess what? It just got a heck of a lot more expensive. All of this stuff is happening, and it's chaos. The crazy thing about it, Dom, is the Democrats and the media are always like with this fake Trump brings chaos stuff, even though they're the harbingers of chaos. They're the ones that create all of it. But the reality is the chaos in our lives happening right now, unfolding before our eyes, is all caused by Biden and Harris and their lack of leadership, Dom. And that brings me to this point. Like this country desperately needs right now more leaders and fewer politicians, my friend, and people who are just unafraid to get out front and lead.
Well, I hope President Trump with the rally, Sean, that's exactly the right tone. And you shouldn't worry about entertaining or not. People are going to be thrilled to be memorializing, remembering that, and he'll have the entertainment when he says the first line, as I was saying. He's got to say that. We're all anticipating that. Are you speaking, Sean?
Yeah, I will be speaking there and actually emceeing the entire portion that is commemorating all of Butler County, which is kind of an amazing honor that the Trump team thinks of me in that way. It's just very humbling, but I'm really excited for it.
Sean, you are the point person on mail-in ballot. I'm not sure if you were aware, but our buddy Scott Presler and our local people have gotten the Secretary of State's office to remove computer maintenance they were going to do starting at 6 p.m. this Saturday during the rally. They've moved it back. So I just want listeners to know we're on top of these things. We're on it. And I know that you are with the mail-in ballot. We're hearing an uptick, that it's better than the last time. And I think the difference is it doesn't seem to be as good for the Democrats, though, as in 2020.
Oh, that's right. I mean, put it very simply, my friend, like Democrats have 921,000 requests right now. GOP has 401,000. And while you might think like, holy smokes, Democrats have a huge lead, the reality is since 2022, and the reason why I cite 2022 is because 2020 was a little bit of an anomaly because of COVID. So the GOP has 101,000 more requests since 2022. The Democrats are down 52,000. So while the Democrats have a lead, it's not as substantial as it once was. And when you add to that all of the registration gains that Republicans have made since 2020, we've cut the Democrat voter registration advantage in this state by more than half. I'm telling you, the political battlefield in the state of Pennsylvania is shaping up very nicely for Republicans.
Yeah, we have, I think it's Guy Shiraki, as Sean, local pundit and columnist. He said, and I don't have it written down right in front of me, but when we get to Election Day, if those numbers are, as you're saying now, or anywhere near that, then given the turnout, the usual turnout that will be there, we're going to win Pennsylvania. It'll be close, but we're going to win. Now, if they have the advantage they had in 2020, for example, you're not going to win. I mean, it's a pretty simple thing, and I think we're at a good spot here.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think what's really important is we're going to keep banging away at the banking the vote game. And look, here's a great example of why that's so important. You know, internet goes down. You just mentioned the PA Department of State. Oh, hey, look, we have internet maintenance on. Just so happens to be on the day that Trump's coming back to Pennsylvania, and voter registrations could be through the roof. Up, our internet's down. So Democrats do stuff like that. Or in the case of like horrific, horrible natural disasters that nobody can anticipate. Look what's happening down in the Southeast. We just got done talking about that. Bank your vote, right? You bank your vote. We know that you voted. You can track your ballot. If you're uncomfortable with it, show up on Election Day anyway. And for those who are planning on showing up on Election Day, we have an opportunity to change the course of history in Pennsylvania. If we win this state, we save this country. And that means every single one of us had a duty and responsibility to bring 10 people to the polls. Take accountability for 10 people and make sure that they get there. But not only we got to fight the political fight with the mail-in ballots, because of course we do. The rules of the political battlefield as they are, we've got to fight with them. But we need to do our part. We need to show up. We need to bring people to the polls. Because if we do that and we execute, because we're in the execution phase of this election operation right now, Dom, but if we execute, we will win this thing. And if we win Pennsylvania, we save this country.
That's exactly right. Where do they go, Sean Parnell? What website are you involved with?
Go to skipthelinepa.com. Skipthelinepa.com. You can bank your vote there. Trust the organization. It's run by a great group of strong, election integrity-minded Republicans. Again, win Pennsylvania, save America, but just bank your vote and let's do this thing.
Have a great time. You deserve it, Sean, to be the MC for that part, without a doubt. And let's get you on Monday. I'll put you on hold, and maybe you can talk to our guy, and we'll get a time set up, because I have a feeling this is going to be a jam-packed weekend here.
Okay, my friend. We'll do that.
Thank you, Sean. I'll put you on hold, and we'll hear from Sean. The Butler thing, it's for our listeners, it's 5.5 hours away. I don't know if you're going. If you are, tell us about that. Joe's been waiting and bored in town on our side question today. OJ was a great spokesperson. Hurts. Joe, who's your person? Yo, Joe. All right, was Joe Azuzu. Okay. All right, 855-839-1210. You get on board. AT&T and Verizon Wireless. You push pound 1210. We'll come back to Joe here in a second. And yesterday, toward the end of the show, we got this list of unbelievable call volume from certain people over the course of time. I think it's like the top 75 or so. Dan somehow or another was thinking about that. We'll give you a little bit of that. At 2 o'clock, we're going to talk with Monica Crowley, former Deputy Treasury Secretary, and someone who was the moderator for the preparation of the Vance debate, and someone that President Trump was on yesterday on her podcast, and he said a couple of really interesting things. All that will unfold here on Talk Radio 1210. You know, all batteries plus bulbs in Mount Laurel and Northfield, 2 big stores. My friend Roy at both stores looking for help. The reason is this is a spot over the years, I don't know if it's 10, but it's closing on that we've told you to go. Anything battery needed, anything like that, but also a place that helps you with tech, fixing it, figuring it out. You're in the business world, an energy audit, or creative solutions. All you have to do is call them and tell them what the problem is. They'll get right on it. But they need more people. You know, a handy do-it-yourselfer would be ideal. It's a great low-pressure part-time job. Customer service is the key. If you're willing to do what it takes to help, you need to talk to Roy. You be part of the team. They power it, they light it, and boy, do they fix it. Call them at 856-638-0778. 856-638-0778. Batteries plus bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield.
Your weeknights are getting a whole lot better. With Jimmy Fallon 7 to 10 p.m. starting Monday, October 7th.
Honestly, I do mean this. What an incredible honor to join this lineup because, like, the thing you guys do that matters to me, you guys know your listeners. You hang out with them, you meet them, you do events. Like, that to me is amazing. That's why I got into radio. Is like, you want to be a part of the community. Like, I'm always on tour doing live events. I want to be part of the community, which is a fancy way of me saying I got to get out of New York a lot because I owe a lot of people money. But the point is, I'll be there.
Jimmy Fallon, weeknights 7 to 10 p.m. starting October 7th on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hey, did you hear? Wawa has classic hoagies for just $6.
Any classic hoagie?
Yeah, any classic hoagie.
What about the cheesesteak?
$6.
Meatball?
$6.
What about the Italian hoagie?
It's $6 for a classic. I shouldn't even have to ask, but what do you want for lunch?
Hoagies at Wawa, of course.
Right now, get any Wawa Classic Hoagie for $6. Gotta have a Wawa.
Hey, it's Rich. Zioli, winter is coming. Water will freeze and thaw around your property and into your foundation, and that's when the worst damage will happen. I used to worry about water, but then Garden State Earthworks solved my water problem for good. When we had our wet basement, it was caused by excess outside stagnant water. We called Garden State Earthworks. They assessed and drained the water away once and for all. Call the guy I trust, Lou Vargo at Garden State Earthworks, 856-848-4444 or GardenStateEarthworks.com.
Support the Evesham Township Police Foundation. See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at Cherokee High School in Marlton, Saturday, October 26th.
Conklin doing his thing, his best voices, his best shtick. Joe's family is just, they're like back from the Osmonds. They're Osmonds on steroids. They're unbelievable.
They made fun of the Cowboys, though. I've known him for such a long time, but I did not know he could sing like that.
That's Conklin with City Rhythm at Cherokee High School in Marlton, New Jersey, October 26th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-3183. That's 800-291-3183. 800-291-3183.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210. 1210 WPHT.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
It's Dan time.
I can handle things. I'm smart. Not like everybody says.
With Dom.
Yes, it's that time of the afternoon. Producer Dan takes over the Dom Giordano program for some Dan Time with Dom. And Dom, I didn't even know we could do something like this. And it's really freaking cool. Yesterday, Earl called in, and I overheard Henry telling Earl the amount of times that he's called in. And I was like, is there a way to pull up a database and find out some numbers as to who our top callers are? to 1210 WPHT these past couple of years or longer. And what I was able to find on is I found some data on our callers. One set that you have in front of you is from when we started keeping track on this new phone system that we use that we implemented in late 2016.
8 years, right?
And that number one, clearing away by like 1,000 calls is, and let me be clear, this isn't making it on air. This is just encounters in general. So just calling us, waiting on hold, maybe not making it on in or whatever. Number one for all those years, Dom, that we've been keeping track, and it's not even close. I got to be quite honest with you. Earl of Tacony, 2,287 calls. The next closest in the entire time, Dom, Ed of Delran with 1,338. Earl has almost 1,000 more calls than the next caller.
And Ed, we haven't heard Ed of Delran in quite a while.
Yeah, for those numbers of all time, Jane and Pennsauken. And then there's a name that's very interesting here because we also pulled data from the start of the pandemic, and then we also pulled within the past year. And since the start of the pandemic, Dom, there's been one caller that's really shown, and he has no calls prior to 2021, which is surprising to me, and I didn't realize this. But number 4 of all time since we've been keeping track with now 1,236 calls. So almost half of Earl's in the amount of time, but only about like a third of the amount of time is now the magnificent and the mysterious Joe of Exton is now the 4th all-time since we've been keeping track of these calls, Dom. And that's because since 2021 only, he's had 1,236 contacts with us.
Wow. So that's like 400 to 500, 400 a year and change. Yeah.
You know what that proves to me, though, is dedication.
Oh, yeah. Now, the one I look at
Fame
here.
Numbers.
Well, that's definite Hall of Fame, yeah. The guy I look at here, what the heck happened? Then I worry. If anybody knows, Tom of Marlton, Dan, had 780 calls during that time period. He used to come to all of our events. Remember the Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah.
Brilliant guy.
Did I anger you, Tom? I saw Tom at church one day.
Okay.
And he came over, said hi to me, and I thought we were hitting it off. I thought we had a good, and ever since then, he hasn't called.
No, I don't think it's that. I worry is something happened.
Oh, that's true, too, yeah. A couple names on here you wonder about that.
Yeah. Well, somebody who has to bump it up, though. Come on now. She's only in 8th or 9th place with 474 encounters. Fishapine Leslie.
Yeah, and surprising to see her so far down with only 68 calls in the past year. It seems like she might be falling off.
What the heck's going on there?
So why don't I give you a top 10, Dom, of the past year since 2024, because I think there's a lot of new callers to the show. And so just outside of it, honorable mention number 11, Dom, and he's been a really big proponent of our side question, Robert and Ben Salem, number 11, with 161 calls this year, Dom.
Okay. That seems low. I thought he was more than that. Yeah.
Number 10, we got Drew of Upper Darby, 182 calls. You got Greg of the Northeast, 9. Bruce in the Northeast, number 8, unsurprising. Gary of Newtown, Dom, an opposing caller, number 7. Yeah, listens a lot. Number 5, Joe of Columbus with 266 calls. I'm sorry, that's number 6. Number 5 is Joe of Exton. In the past year, Joe of Exton's fallen off, Dom. He had those crazy amount of calls since the pandemic, and then the past year he's only number 5. Number 4, Ed in Delran. Number 3, Kevin in Bucks County. Number 2, Kevin. Wow, number 3. That's Kevin Paul's GregStalkerSucks.com. 2, Earl of Tacony, and Dom, number 1, because Earl's not number 1 as you just heard, is. I think it has a lot to do with his regular updates that he calls in with regarding Bucks County voter registration number. That's Bill in Bucks County with 342.
He's number 1. You know what I look at when I hear, maybe I only see 4 women, maybe 5 out of the top 40 or 50. Leslie's number 1, and I miss Lori. I know Lori has a different schedule now. And Greta, who used to call in all the time in Gloucester Township.
So I think there's a trick to Bill, who's on the line now. I brought Bill in because being the number 1 caller, Bill, I think what you do sometimes, though, is sometimes you're waiting on hold, and then you drop off and you'll call us back, and that's why you got so many of those numbers is you're inflating your numbers, man. You're cheating over there, Bill.
Yeah, I think Bill's a Democrat. I think this is something we found this out here, no doubt, yes.
I am a registered Republican and have been for many, many, many moons. I'm a former committee man, former member of the Bucks County Executive Committee of the Republican Party. So
okay, all right. Well, you are number 1.
It's a nice cover.
Yeah, it's a nice cover.
Thank you for your commitment, Bill. Sincerely, we really appreciate you calling.
Hopefully next time I'll get on the cover of Rolling Stone, maybe.
All right. Well, it's about time that we start looking at right after the election, the caller of the year. Earl has been sterling, but, Robert, Joe, you're in there. I mean, as a top 10, it's going to be fierce.
Well,
so you think, Bill, you think Melania is going rogue here? Why?
I don't think she's happy with this whole campaign thing. And, it started with the fashion photos, some of which were pretty revealing, and now it's this controversial Democrat-pushed agenda of abortion. I mean that's sunk us with Mastriano. It's just they're just clinging to it. I don't understand.
Well, the tell is going to be when she does an interview in which somebody actually asked about it. The Fox hosts seem to have deferred. They didn't ask. I think they should, but I realize getting the interview is pretty tough, so I understand.
Well, maybe Cuomo will do it.
She's going to be on with Cuomo?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if any of the outside CNN would not pay $250,000 according to one report. So we'll see.
Dom Giordano shows a great place.
There you go. Yes, and I want to hear it. I would just throw the ball to her and ask why do that. I think it's inappropriate, though, Bill. I got to tell you, I definitely do.
But doesn't she have handlers? Doesn't she have advisors?
I think she does. I think she does what she wants here, whatever. Now, Dan thinks this is a way to soften up Trump, that Trump's not for banning on abortion and all. I think you raised something else. She released those pictures again recently.
And that's not good. That's just not good.
It's unintended consequences.
It's not a conservative thing to do.
Yeah. Who's your spokesperson?
Well, I think he's one of the greatest marketers of all time, Steve Jobs.
Yep, definitely. The black outfit, the whole thing, it's iconic.
I think you also think he's one of the biggest fashionistas of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
Based on how you dress, Mr.
Right,
Jobs.
Definitely. I can't get enough of those.
You love that black turtleneck.
Yeah, I like
Have you ever seen Don with the black turtleneck?
Oh, I have to.
Okay.
Time
again.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if
I
you
have a
haven't.
whole closet of them, yes. There's nothing wrong, but it's like the little black dress. All women should be.
The black turtleneck tucked into the blue jeans, right. Dom. It's the
all
look.
Women should be in little black dresses with heels. You can't go wrong. Trust me on that. I'll ask Monica Crowley that. We're friends. She's coming up. She's a former assistant Treasury Secretary in the Trump years. She got Trump on her podcast yesterday, said some stuff that I want you to hear. And President Trump and the debate, she was played the moderator in the Vance debate. Got to ask her about that she fact-check a lot. And Dom's Money Melody, a lot of action here on the spokesperson. We're coming to you next here on Talk Radio 1210.
This school year, make the most of it for your child or grandchild and make the call to Kathy Ganna and New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown at 800-300-0003. Give your student all the tools they need for a great school year. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, a pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2-to-1, allowing students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Help your students start strong. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for a no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today at 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today.
The following is a paid commercial message. I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message. So many of you have told me about your plans for the future. Starting a business, buying a home, retiring near your grandchildren. But prices are too high. So let me tell you what I will do about it as president. I will take on price gouging. I will lower the cost of healthcare insurance. We cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. I'm running to do that for everyone. And I will provide new down payment assistance to first-time home buyers and tax benefits to people who want to start their own business. Donald Trump, well, he wants to give more tax breaks to the wealthy, whereas I will cut taxes for the middle class instead. Because I know working people want to do more than just get by. You want to get ahead, and that's the future you deserve. And that is what I will focus on every day as your president. Paid for by Harris for President.
When was the last time you watched your home movies?
Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
Okay, it is Dom time. We talked about this a bit yesterday, but there's more information out there, more. And the media, in many instances, not talking about it. At least I would characterize it as serious allegations by a serious publication. According to the Daily Mail, Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman, they say there's serious allegations. He hit a woman so hard, she physically spun around. He allegedly caused his nanny to have a miscarriage after impregnating her. This happened at the Cannes Film Festival. Didn't like it, apparently, that the girlfriend allegedly was flirting with someone else May 2012. Now, you could say, well, what the heck does this have to do with Kamala Harris? Well, the fact that people like Jen Psaki, and this goes for Walls too, continue to tell us that Emhoff and Walls are reshaping masculinity. How did that look with Walls the other night? I mean, he was lucky he got out of there without even more damage, let alone he's going to be appealing to men. This is the way a male should be. Remember, he's going to appeal to rural Pennsylvania, things like this. And I have to say, honestly, I said it then, that Emhoff talking about Kamala Harris at the DNC was very good. I mean, there was no doubt. But there's a backstory with this guy. We know about the nanny, the first marriage, and now this story out there. And when you're going to be holding someone up, and what you're saying is Donald Trump is a poor excuse for a man, and MAGA people are too, and you're holding up Emhoff and Walls, well, there's going to be a level of scrutiny about that. Just like Melania Trump in the book, talking about abortion, I read it pretty clearly. There doesn't seem to be any limitation here. So we ought to be talking about Emhoff, but putting this out at this point, I don't see this as coordinated. I'm in that camp. It's her own book. She's selling the book. This is her view. I'm also in the camp, though, too, and I'm being hit with a lot of people who somebody just sent me, well, what about James Carville and Mary Madeline? That's an act. It's showbiz for the two of them. They're minor players. You know, the fact that Carville is Bill Clinton, liberal Democrat, she's an alleged conservative. You try doing that in everyday life. Really, are we saying that in your wife or your husband's place of business, whatever it might be, even if you know your point of view on something that's significant and maybe very volatile, you're going to be doing that? I don't advise that. I don't agree with it. Ro and I don't do that. Now, there are people that think, well, this is 2024. Why would you not do it? I don't see this as coordinated, and I think there's unintended consequences that could happen here. Like, who knows what the consequence of this is? All right, Monica Crowley is with us. She's in New York, so there's going to be some background noise. Monica's an old friend, has done a lot of great stuff in talk radio over the years, and originally worked with Richard Nixon, who, let's face it, in addition to being the most Machiavellian, arguably is the most intellectual president, Nixon, I believe, in history. She joins us, though, to talk about Trump and related things on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Monica, welcome back. Good to talk with you today.
Hey, Dom, it's so good to be back with you. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, you and I go way back, so it's always nice to hear your voice. And I just want to say thank you for the nice words about President Nixon. And I do want to clarify that I worked for him during the last years of his life. I was not born when he was elected president. Yeah. I just want to make that really clear.
You know, I just read another biography of his. I don't have the title in front of me. I just picked it up on a whim. It's huge. And this was the best. And when you think of even the just 10 things that he was involved in during his time, that he was on, 5 national tickets in a row, or almost in a row, is the most remarkable guy. And Monica, how did a guy that awkward socially still rise and overcome that and become president 2 times?
Well, you know, he wasn't awkward, actually. That's sort of the propaganda press's characterization of him. He wasn't really. He was actually a much more effective retail politician than people give him credit for. And he used to describe himself as an introvert in an extrovert's profession. But once he got around people and doing big events and big speeches and shaking hands and kissing babies, he was absolutely brilliant at it. And until very recently, sort of the Biden-Trump election of 2020, Richard Nixon held the record for most Republican votes. He actually may still hold that record because he ran for president 3 times, 1960, 1968, and 72. I think Nixon actually may still hold the record for the most votes for president of anybody who has ever run.
Wow. So, Monica, you recently, let's start the most recent stuff, and I didn't know this at that point or had skipped over it, and you are an excellent choice given your background, communication skills. I don't think, though, you could do what these 2 dopes did, the 2 females in the debate. You were the moderator for J.D. Vance. How did you approach it? Did you put yourself in there with all the fact-checking?
Well, that's very nice of you to raise. Yes, I was asked by the Trump campaign to serve as the moderator for JD's mock debate, which I did last week. And I don't want to divulge too many details because, you know, honestly, JD really did not need any help. Congressman Tom Emmer of Minnesota played waltz because he has known waltz forever.
Okay.
And I really wanted to make sure that JD was as prepared as possible. Now, JD is brilliant. He is a fierce champion for America First and the forgotten men and women of this country because he had been one not too long ago, growing up in really disadvantaged circumstances in Appalachia and pulling himself up, living the American dream through his own sheer will and hard work. And, you know, he's been giving every interview. He takes all comers, and he's steeped in policy. So we really didn't need all that much help. We just wanted to make sure he was prepared for the rhythm of a debate. And debates tend to take on lives of their own in terms of the timing and everything. So we wanted to make sure he was geared up for that. And, man, I guess we all did a great job because J.D. Vance just blew it out of the water, gave an absolutely stellar performance in holding Tim Walz and Kamala Harris accountable for their radical records, as well as making a very strong affirmative case for Trump-Vance in delivering a booming economy, as President Trump did the first time, restoring law and order, enforcing the border, mass deportation program, and delivering peace through strength globally. All the things that President Trump gave us in the first term, he's going to do it on steroids in a second term.
My producer and one of our callers, Shaif on YouTube, wants to know, did the Walz impersonator wear a dunce cap? Use that on your Twitter, yeah.
He did not.
Did it surprise you, though? Well, early on, Monica, you may have been thinking, I was thinking this, the question about international politics, Israel that day, walls just looked like, uh-oh, I'm in over my head. I was kind of surprised that he couldn't folksy that. He couldn't do anything with that. And from there, it was pretty much over.
Yeah, he admitted that he was very nervous going into this, and JD admitted he was nervous. Totally understandable. JD did not show it. JD was a cool customer, handled everything with finesse and grace. Tim Walz, he came off as very provincial.
Yes.
And very limited in his knowledge of foreign affairs. Now, granted, a lot of governors aren't really aware of national security issues. Bill Clinton certainly wasn't. But the presidency, there is no time to learn on the fly. He really messed it up.
Yeah.
And I think that undermined his confidence going forward. But, yeah, he really did not handle that well. And I think it undermined a lot of people's confidence that he could – his ability to take over if something were to happen to Kamala.
We're talking to Monica Crowley. Monica, too, pinned on your Twitter, you had an interview fairly recently, end of August, after the assassination attempt with President Trump. What sense did you get from him that may be a little bit different talking with him about it?
Yeah, I spoke with President Trump about a month ago for the Monica Crowley podcast, which is now streaming on Rumble. So I recommend it to everyone. And I'm sorry, Dom, your question was about the assassination attempt?
Yes.
Yeah, so at the time, the second one had not yet occurred. And so I talked to him about the first assassination attempt and how it changed him, because it does seem like he's a lot more willing to talk about his faith, talk about God more openly. And he admitted that, yes, coming that close to death and actually having his head blown off on live TV really did change his approach to his faith and also to the mission that he is undertaking here, which is to save America. And at one point in that interview, and I recommend it to everyone, it was a really moving, powerful conversation with him. I talked to him about the responsibility on his shoulders to save the United States of America and also, more broadly, the West. The West is under assault. Western civilization is under assault. And the fact that he has this responsibility on him, I said, Mr. President, is too much for one person as strong as you are, and you need to know God is walking with you. So I was very glad to be able to share that with him. And then, of course, we covered a lot of other issues, illegal immigration, the SAVE Act. And he broke the news on my show that he supports the SAVE Act. He supported it, attaching it to the spending bill, and he supported closing down the government, shutting it all down if they didn't get it. And, of course, the Republicans in Congress caved. But he broke all of that news on my show, I'm proud to say.
Monica, given the background, you are at the highest levels of things that are policy-related. The tariff thing, I know what Trump is saying on it. I know how they use it. The John Deere was a perfect example. There is some polling, though, that they are gaining some traction here by just calling it a sales tax. And, the willing assailants in the media, some of them who don't understand the manner in which Trump used it before, how should we articulate the tariff part of what Trump's economic plan is?
Yes, well, President Trump is a huge champion of tariffs, and he put a number of them very effectively in place in the first term, primarily against China, which was massive because we have this huge trade imbalance with China. And so President Trump came in wanting to rectify that trade imbalance, but he also wanted to use it as leverage to bring the Chinese to the table. It was a negotiating tactic to bring the CCP to the table to negotiate fair trade deals for America's workers. So he put those tariffs in place, which, by the way, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have largely kept in place, right? And so they have been very effective. And it is a leveraging tool. And, to their point about having tariffs as inflationary, there was no inflation in the Trump years. Those tariffs did not create inflation. So, and what he's saying is, if they don't abide by the rules and we tariff, we're going to have a tremendous amount of revenue coming in. Because if they want to sell their goods to the American people and have access to our markets, they're going to have to pay the tariff. We're going to make it 100% or 200%, whatever he decides. And that is going to bring tremendous amount of revenue into our coffers. So he looks at it as a win-win situation, and it really is, because you know what? I'll give you another example. It was hugely successful with the Chinese, but it was also hugely successful with the Mexican government, because President Trump went to them and said, you will abide by the Remain in Mexico policy, holding people who want to come into the U.S. until their applications can be processed, and you're going to enforce your side of the border. And if you don't, we're going to slap on massive tariffs on you, on the automobiles and other things that come in over the border from Mexico. Mexico is our biggest trading partner, apart from Canada. And do you know that the Mexican government immediately backed off? So it was the mere threat of tariffs that had the Mexicans caving on the border.
All right.
And so they're very, very effective, Dom, and that's a large part why Biden and Harris have kept most of them in place.
Where do we find all things Monica Crowley? You're on Rumble. What time? How do we find you, Monica?
Oh, that's so nice of you, Dom. Thank you. Yes, the Monica Crowley podcast is on Rumble, and you can find it there at the Monica Crowley podcast. You can also listen to it on Apple, Google, or Spotify. And you can find me on Twitter and True Social at Monica Crowley, and also on Instagram at Monica Crowley _.
Thank you, Monica. Thanks very much. Nice job as the moderator.
Oh, thank you so much, and thanks for having me today, Dom.
You're welcome. Monica Crowley here. Yeah, it had to be hard for her to play, particularly the CBS moderator. Oh, my goodness.
Could you imagine? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant woman. You know, with Richard Nixon, that's why I brought that up all the way down. Okay, 855-839-1210.
You had a couple drinks before?
Who did, Vance?
No, I'm saying Monica. Do you think she had a couple drinks to kind of get on the level of...
Oh, I see what you're saying with this. Yeah, I know that they had trouble with, there was a power outage and all this. I mean, Vance prepared, but he just kind of breezed through it. He had murder boards, apparently, bunches of people firing questions at him at once.
Good for him.
Yeah. And then he's in the ring with Walls, and I love the dunce cap thing here. I mean, the bug-eyed and the whole thing with them. God. All right, so it is time, though, right now for...
It's Dom's Money Melody.
Money gone.
That's right. And today, playing for a pair of tickets a night on the Bayou, celebrating Creedence Clearwater Revival on October 11th at the Zlock Performing Arts Center on the campus of Bucks County Community College. Great spot, great bar, and great folks. All right, Dan, what do you have?
Yeah, Dom, so I want to go on a little rant today regarding the Money Melody. So we're talking about spokesperson, pitchman, pitchwoman here, and I want to... So I don't know if you've watched the football games or anything that's on network television at this point, but it seems like every commercial break you have at least 2 or 3 pharmaceutical commercials, right? So I'm going to bring listeners back to the glory days when there were commercials that weren't, pharmaceutical drug companies, and we're going to play back a product, and I want to know today, I'm going to bleep out the product name. There's 2 of them that you could give. It's 2 different types of food, and if you call in with that, you win the prize. But Dom, back in 1997, I don't know if you know, but pharmaceutical companies weren't allowed to advertise.
Yes.
FDA lifted the ban, and then under the Biden administration, they kind of loosened it even more, and that's why we're seeing such an explosion. Obviously, with the pandemic, pharmaceutical companies got huge, and now 3 out of the top 5 top advertising spenders in 2023 pharmaceutical companies. So that's why you're seeing all this stuff.
I might add Fox News Channel, particularly at sometimes. Oh,
yeah,
my God.
It's bad.
That and Mike Lindell. I don't know. Mike Lindell, take him off the board. Pitchman extraordinaire. There you go. Go ahead, Dan.
And this is probably the first time I've ever made Money Melody political, but Trump did try getting some, limits on these ads, and he tried getting drug makers to list a price of any treatments costing over $35 TV ads, but the industry took it to federal court, and Big Pharma won, and Trump did not get that passed through. So it does look like maybe if he's elected again, we'll have some kind of control over this crap we're seeing spiral out of control. But let's get back to the point. Money Melody, Dom, playing back an old commonly heard slogan, and we want to know the product, what this is referring to. Listen closely because the ingredients are indeed listed in the ad. Take a listen.
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. It's got nuts, don't. It's got real milk chocolate, coconut and munchy nuts too. It's got deep dark chocolate and chewy coconut. Ooh. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. Peter Paul's got nuts, Peter Paul don't. Because sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Looking for the product name, Dom? 2 answers will work today, and just from the glory days of advertising when you had those great songs and such. Miss those jingles.
Okay, 855-839. Give me Mike Lindell. 855-839. Those slippers. 855-839-1210. Get in, and you're off to the Zlock, and more coming up, too, on the news of the day here on Talk Radio 1210.
Rich Zioli.
I do think it's badass that Andrew Jackson beat a would-be assassin with a cane. I think that is the coolest thing. I mean, come on. Guy takes 2 shots at him, the gun misfires both times, and he's like, that's it. Like, I wish to God there were cameras back then to capture Andrew Jackson and pummeling this guy with a cane.
It wasn't even his cane. He took it from another guy. He was that upset.
Give me that cane. Starts beating the crap out of the guy. Oh, man. That's the best thing I've heard all day.
Rich Zioli, weekday afternoons 3 till 7. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT. And on the free Odyssey app.
Tired of hearing scary ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. We may be able to significantly reduce and even eliminate what you owe to the IRS. Taxpayers should know. Huge savings are now being made available through the Fresh Start program that can drastically reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. Even if you haven't filed your taxes in years or are facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or under audit, we can help. We've earned over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today. To see what savings you may qualify for, visit us online at TRA.com or call us at 800-511-0379. 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Call 800-631-9123. 800-631-9123. That's 800-631-9123.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
There's breaking news all day long from around the world, and sometimes all that noise makes it hard to hear about what's happening right here at home. With the free Odyssey app, getting your local news plus breaking news is easy. And even when you're not near a radio, stay connected with what's going on right here by listening live and push alerts. Just download the free Odyssey app and search and follow your local news station, and you're good to go. The local breaking news to get you through your day at your fingertips on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
Hey, Clementon. Yeah! We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
It's the Money Melody.
Where has all the money gone?
Show me the money.
That is right. Here is an old time.
Really?
Yeah, people texting me. It's getting nuts here.
You think it's too easy, do you?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not that old. All right, let's hear the clue, and let's see if anybody has it. Maybe we'll stump somebody.
Sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
Peter Paul's got nuts. Peter Paul don't.
Because
sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
All right, let's go to the test. Jack in the Northeast. All right, Jack, what's the product?
Hey, Dom, it's Almond Joy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put you on hold, Jack. Nicely played. Go get some Almond Joy. I think it's still on the market.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Is it?
It's still on the market. Yeah, it's one of the best candies out there.
Okay.
Well, all right, that's a stretch.
Oh, it's so underrated.
Yeah, okay.
I would say that Mounds and Almond Joy are the two most underrated candies out there.
What are you going to tell me next?
Reese's being the most overrated.
Was Good and Plenty in there
definitely.
too?
Yeah.
Reese's
No,
definitely
Good and Plenty.
overrated.
What is this,
And
1940?
It's a runaway winner, Reese's. Sure. Okay, that's the winner. Off to the Zlock with that. Now,
I got a listener who said Planters Peanuts.
Yes, he sent it to me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. He's not chasing any bad guys at this point. I guess that's why I had time to do that one.
What's he doing today?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
What bar you posted up
All
there?
right. Here's cut 13. Henry pulled this for me. You got to hear this. I still think this is an issue. Look, we got what's going on at the border. We have inflation. But this issue, we had Riley Gaines on yesterday talking about it in sports. Here's New Jersey Democrat Sue Altman. I got this from the New York Post today. She's running for office. She's a former Columbia University women's basketball player, played professionally in Ireland and Germany. Here's what she told prospective voters at a September 26th town hall in Phillipsburg about the idea of why women should accept our trans brothers and sisters, dissolving these female only. So this is somebody who played pro sports. Listen to this Democrat in Jersey. Is this a compelling argument why women ought to put up with this stuff?
We decide as a society that making rules about who is and who isn't female is more important than giving young children the chance to be on teams and compete and to be part of something bigger than themselves, especially young people who are more susceptible to suicide and bullying, then I think we've lost our way a little bit. As someone who's been working to advocate for women's rights in women's sports, I promise you that in the locker rooms of women's sports teams, we're not super worried about this. We've been worried about getting equal access to gym time, good referees, good trainers who don't get injured, fair shake at scholarships, equal pay at the higher levels. Those have been the things that have occupied my life and my teammates' life over the last 20 years.
All right, Henry, you got to try to get her on because this is a sports thing, too. And you know where one of the angles I'm going to take with this. Now, more broadly, this nonsense. She's talking seemingly about pro players here. Sue Altman, how would it be if suddenly we had someone 6'10", puts a skirt on or doesn't put a skirt on and wants to play in the WNBA and would be playing against you? You think women in those locker rooms would complain? So because some of these women in the WNBA, I guess she's talking about, might be okay with this, although I think a number of them would not be, at the high school level, the grade school level, and the middle schools, this is what we ought to be thinking about. In other words, these females should have to suck it up because these others then will not be able to play sports. Well, of course they can play sports. This is an obvious thing. There should be two avenues. One avenue is they ought to play in the arena that they were born in biologically. The other, I'm not opposed to doing this. If there's going to be some, given the trend at local schools, there might be enough. Have a transgender league then. Do that. Now, it might be limited. Some years you might not have 5 players on a basketball team. I don't know. You'll have to come up with different rules. Dan, do you think that she could be on the side? Some of these women in the WNBA are politically correct, et cetera. They might not worry about having someone in their dressing room. A number of them were gay. I don't know how that would impact it.
I don't think they're allowed to worry. They're not allowed to worry.
Yeah, that would be the next point. If you spoke out, and Caitlin Clark might be somebody who did, there would be a problem. So because of that, she might come on this because in Jersey, this might play. Notice what she's doing. We're more concerned about better play and referees. Okay, you're in a pro league. We're talking about the everyday female just wanting to participate in high school sports, middle school, grade school, whatever. They are concerned about it. It is an invasion. It's wrong. To Dan's point, yeah, you probably couldn't say that. I'm surprised that the WNBA hasn't done something like this yet. Given what we've seen of them, I think a lot of them would go along with it. They might agree, or they would just have to go along with it. But if you had somebody out there, 6'8", 6'9", who played even pro ball in Greece or something, I think they could score 30, 35 a game pretty easily. It's pretty out. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well.
You better defer to me on a basketball knowledge.
Well,
Yeah.
I should be the one that takes the mantle on the height knowledge. You know?
Well, I didn't say just we picked Borowski off the
I was going to
street.
say, if you put me over there in Europe,
said,
I'm not going to succeed.
I mean, Clay Travis, the guy said this, the guy with Sports Outkick and all that, he made the point. If you took the state championship in some of the bigger states, boys basketball, many years, and took that squad, I agree with him. You could beat many of these WNBA players. You could. Now, there are some where, not an all-star team, they might beat you with that. But if you're talking about the average team, yeah, I think they'd beat them, Dan. They wouldn't be used to the speed, the physicality of even a high school team.
I generally agree with you, but then I look at the outliers. Like if I'm going against a Brittany Griner,
Brittany Griner
she's taking me.
is
There's no doubt that Brittany Griner's.
You have a 6'8" high school kid who's on a championship
So
team.
I'm placing myself in the shoes of a 6'8" college kid that drags butt when he's doing wind sprints and stuff, and he's on the team, right? And
no, well, I'm not saying that.
You're talking like high school state champs, so yeah.
Yeah, high school state champs, or a college team that they would murder them, like Villanova. Villanova would beat them by 50. And Villanova's not top 10 necessarily.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're completely right.
It's a completely different sport. To your point, yeah, it's stupid to say we can get any guy off the street and they would beat him. No. I mean, I can't guard Caitlin Clark now. Maybe 20 years ago.
I was gonna say, this is a big day, Dom, for you to admit.
Well, at this point, it would be pretty I see her tendencies, though. I'd like to give it a try. I'll tell you that. They're not picking me off easily. I know how to fight through a pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so 855.
Bows.
Yeah, 855-839-1210. You get on board. It's going to be interesting. We're going to try to get her on, and we're going to follow this. Notice what she's doing. She's evading the issue. She's saying at the pro sports level, well, we wouldn't worry about that. We worry more about getting paid more, better referees, and all this. And to Dan's point, they'd have to say this in the WNBA. But this is a winning issue, this whole nonsense. And it's somewhat hard to be talking about, because we don't know, in girls' bathrooms and males and transgendered in schools. But we do know, when you take a look at the world of sports, how much people resent this. They do, big time. And Dan and I have interviewed for Reading, Writing, and Reason. Dan, one was the daughter of Lee Smith, one of the few relief pitchers in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Olympic athlete, or pre-Olympic. She got beaten in, I think it was Ohio, by runners that were ranked in the male side 27, 28, but were gender fluid and said they're going to run against females.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And they told her, well, you're going to have to train harder. Really?
Hey, so yesterday we had Riley
yes.
Gaines, and Dawn Stensland went out to the event in Montgomery County and actually captured some audio, and she actually touches right upon what you're talking about here.
Okay.
Do you want it now?
Yeah, let's hear a little bit.
Okay, here you go.
But UPenn, they told their athletes, you'll never get a job. You know that, right? Your employer's going to look you up, and they're going to see that you're a transphobe if you speak about this. You're going to lose all your friends. You'll never get into grad school. Isn't that what you want? It'll never happen. They won't even look at your application if you speak about this. They told these girls you're going to lose your scholarship. And yeah, speaking of that scholarship, remember you signed that. And when you signed that, you gave away your rights to speak in your own personal capacity. Remember who you represent, because it's not you whose name is across your chest and across your cap. It's ours. And understand, we have already taken your stance for you. These girls had to go to mandatory LGBTQ education meetings every single week to learn about how just by being cisgender they were oppressing Leah Thomas. They were the oppressors in this scenario, regardless of how they felt about the issue. 16 of these girls signed on to an email expressing their discomfort in the locker room to their university, to which their university responded back. I have a screenshot of the response. They said, if you feel uncomfortable seeing male genitalia, here are some counseling resources that you should see in an attempt to re-educate yourself.
Boy, I wish we had some audio of that re-education type of thing. That's why Scanlon, I mean, Riley Gaines was made for this, but Scanlon is a more introverted person, and following the example of Riley Gaines has come forward. Republicans just have to do a better job of messaging on this, bringing it up at appropriate times. I know we have inflation, the border, all these things Americans are crying about, and they're going to say, is that all you have? Well, they really can't, because they're the ones that are diminishing the middle class. All right, more calls coming up, 855-839-1210.
Weather sponsored by Robert Half.
59 overnight, partly cloudy. For tomorrow, some clouds in the morning, but we'll see some sun in the afternoon, high 77. Friday, 77 again. A few clouds here and there, but Saturday we're supposed to have a lot of sunshine, high 79. Sunday looks about the same, just a little cooler.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
You have key decisions to make about your money. Most investors don't beat the market, and neither do the hedge funds, who take a share of your profits. What if there was another way? A way for you to keep total control over your money where the interests were aligned. That's what the exclusive crash-proof retirement system is all about.
Mike Bisaccia from Logan Township, New Jersey. You can't follow the market because nobody can predict it. What you have today could be gone tomorrow. That's the way it works, up and down, and your money goes up and down. That's what led me to see if there was another alternative. Crash-proof retirement gave me that alternative. With crash-proof retirement, the money you make is credited to your account, and that money's yours. No ifs, ands, or buts, no worries. No fees. We had a high point of 13.5%. Once it's credited, it's your money to keep. That's a big deal.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Spring Mill Country Club on October 16th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's PHILO.tv.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
If you're experiencing low energy, brain fog, or bloating, then your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter.
All right, Dom Giordano show. So much stuff. It's hard to squeeze it all in. But we're going to try to get Sue Altman on to tell us why these high school and middle school girls should have to suck it up. Otherwise, they're part of the bullying problem. My God. And in Jersey, it seems like a reasonable argument. That makes sense. Why we should continue to do this nonsense. Let's go to Robert in Ben Salem on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Robert.
Hey, Dom, Dan. Good to talk to you guys today.
Hey, we got to buff up the call-in counter frequency, Robert. Come on now, Robert. You
Number
know
11.
Number
Top
11.
10.
That's shocking.
Okay. Well, I figure if I hang up to answer the musical question and then call back, that'll be 3 a day. Maybe I can bump it up that way. No,
that'll be a race. I got 1 million encounters.
Yeah, poor Henry's got to screen the same caller 18 times a show now.
I like my pace, but everybody's talking about like an October surprise, and I'm starting to think that we're going to see a bunch of attempted October surprises. And I'm looking at this longshoreman strike. And you have this guy up there, sounds like he doesn't have a neck, threatening, scaring, and worrying Americans. And they're saying, well, we make $39 an hour, but we'd like to make $69 an hour. And it smells like Kamala is supposed to ride in, get him to take $49 an hour, and fix the problem right before the election.
Robert, I know that. I know that. You know what? I'm just saying she's not as skilled as that. He's not going to do that. I hear what you're saying, and we're going to be looking for these fake prices they set up so they can solve them. And here's the problem. Biden is not going to let that happen. He's the pro-union guy.
Yeah, well, I think that's what got him their vote, but we'll lose Kamala the vote because she doesn't have that union cred. And she doesn't have to be smart at all. It's her devious handlers that set all this up. She's just following a script. And if they say, oh, we'll just get them to take $10 or more, and we'll make promises about animation, which will eventually be forgotten about.
Well, I tell you, Robert, this guy is up there with Krasner and Jim Kenney as the interview of the year. I'm telling you, it wouldn't last 5 minutes. It'd be over top of the tables in here. We'd have to clear everything out.
Well, it would make sense because they're being over the top right now,
God.
but that's just my opinion.
Yep.
For my side question, I'm going to go outside the box, and I'm going to pick not a person, but the Energizer Bunny. And only because he reminded me of my kids when they were young, constantly walking around making noise without ever stopping.
All right, that's a good one.
You guys have yourself a great day, all right?
Thank you, Robert. All right. He's back. Does he have the Hawaiian shirt on today, though? He used to have unbelievable caller encounters, and we haven't heard from him in months. Tom of Marlton. Tom, how have you been?
Hey, Dom and Dan. I am back.
Yeah, but what the heck happened to you? I mean, you were a mainstay.
Sure you're okay, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's really nice to talk to you guys again. I don't know. I'm still working, so sometimes it's hard to get in, but I had hip replacement surgery, so I'm just getting over that.
How you feeling?
I feel great. I can actually walk up the steps again.
Oh, that's nice.
Good stuff.
Well,
Now,
we can rub the Rocky steps with Dom and Riley Gaines.
yeah, let's set that up. I'm training for that against Riley Gaines. I need some advantage there. Tom, you hit off Tommy John back in the day?
Yeah, Dom, when I was in college, he used to work. I think he came two or three times to work out with us because I used to go to a college way up in North Jersey, almost on the borderline, New York State, and he lived in Franklinville at the time, which is pretty close. So he used to work out with us, and I got to hit off him and catch him. And he's actually a little bigger than I thought he would be, because up until that time, I've only seen him on TV. But he's like 6'3", 6'4", and he threw a little harder than I thought he would, because this is after he had this surgery. But I'll tell you what, he made that ball move up, down, in, out. It's like a wiffle ball almost.
Definite Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I believe so, too. I mean, he's right there. I think he got 280 wins.
288. 288, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, he was very nice, too. So all the guys, he'd stay afterwards and chit-chat with everybody. And Pete Rose, I met him a couple of times, and I'll tell you, the first time I met him, he wasn't a pleasant fella.
No, he's... Yes.
But the second time I had met him, I had my kids with me the second time, and he was total opposite. He took pictures. He shook the kids' hands. So he was, maybe I just caught him on a bad day or whatever, but second time he was great.
And who's your pitch person?
And, we're going to go a little back in the day, Dom. He always used to wear that big brown jacket with the cowboy hat and the good looks. Everybody wanted to smoke a cigarette. The Marlboro Man.
That is a great one. I think every guy would look like the Marlboro Man, without a doubt. Chiseled.
Yeah, what's with the cigarette companies having the coolest guys? Like
Yeah, exactly.
Marlboro Man.
That's
what
what
is it, Joe Camel?
Yeah, you're right. Speaking of cool, the Earl of Tacony, noted call encounter guy. Now, Dan, they're all hanging up and calling in now. We're going to see an all-time record of caller encounters here because of this. Let's go to Earl. Hey, Earl, you have a report from Wholesale Club.
Yes, Dan, Adam, I'm here in Voorhees, New Jersey at the BJ's Wholesale Club, and all of the Charmin is gone. All of the American-made domestic Charmin toilet paper is gone. Now we need those illegal immigrants up in Tunkhannock to go and make more toilet paper.
Well, and Earl, that you mentioned American-made, that comes in by truck then. It's not being shipped in by boat.
It doesn't enter a port. Like I said, I know there's a factory in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I know there's a factory in Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania. There's at least 2 Procter & Gamble factories in Pennsylvania alone that manufacture it. Now, unless they're bringing the pulp in from Canada, because I don't know how they ship that, but I would think they would also use the domestic pulp.
It's funny, but you're underlying the problem here. People are panicking already. And these are products that they should be able to get. But if people come en masse and buy all this stuff out, people listening right now are probably headed somewhere. Then we're going to have a big problem.
Right, because like I said, I'm pretty sure even the pulp is produced domestically because we have some property up in the Tunkhannock area. That's how I was able to go and do and it's mostly just pine trees. And we called a lumber company and we said, you know, can you do anything with these trees? And it's like, no, there's nothing we can do about it. Call the toilet paper companies and they'll turn it into pulp because it has no lumber value whatsoever. So I guess I'm going to have to start selling my trees to get this toilet paper back on the shelves.
Get on it. Who's your pitch person?
My person isn't a person, but he's influential in the sale of one product that people never wanted to buy. It was Morris the cat. Prior to Purina and 9 Lives, people just fed their cat scraps or had it, eat, animals out in the yard. And Morris was the first spokesperson or spokescat to convince people that, you have to buy prepackaged food in order to feed your cat to keep them healthy.
Wow, that is pretty good. That is very detailed. All right, it is the lightning round next. 855-839-1210.
Rich Zioli.
Jimmy Fallon. Kamala came out with the Spanish accent yesterday, too, trying to rock a little AOC. So I'm waiting for her to do an Italian accent and come out there and be like, hey, yo, not for nothing, but the price of gabagool is too much.
Oh, that's funny. Depends where she's campaigning. Like, if they do a Staten Island rally, you're going to see that. You know how the old Italian men make up words? Like, hey, did you get a little botchka to go? Huh? You need a little scabba to go? That's going to be Kamala.
Rich Zioli, weekday afternoons 3 to 7. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The following is a paid commercial message. Bob Casey supported radical sanctuary city policies, and Casey said,
I want to be held accountable if something doesn't work out well.
Casey's sanctuary city policies haven't worked out well. They release dangerous illegal immigrants onto our streets. In fact, Casey's sanctuary city policies released one illegal immigrant felon in Philadelphia who then raped a 5-year-old Pennsylvania girl. Casey made us all less safe. Casey not only supports these crazy policies that put convicted felons back on our streets, he'd make things even worse. Casey voted to give illegals with violent criminal records amnesty. Casey supported amnesty even for illegals convicted of domestic violence and child abuse. Rewarding illegals convicted of domestic violence and child abuse? It's insane.
I want to be held accountable.
It's time to hold Casey accountable. It's time for a change. It's time to fire Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
The time has come for the final test.
We usually call it the lightning round.
Tom's Lightning Round, sponsored every day by Cherry Hill Volvo, where they have ample inventory of brand new and beautiful pre-owned Volvos. Enjoy the luxury experience you deserve. They always go the extra mile for their customers because relationships matter at Cherry Hill Volvo. All right, side question today. This is the day that O.J. was acquitted, 2 murders. Hit us with that all-time spokesperson, pitch person. Let's go to Joe in Bordentown. All right, Joe, this is a second or third encounter today. What do you have?
Hey, well, first of all, you know the ballot problems you were talking about?
Yes.
In 2016, I got my ballot, right? There was no ballot in the envelope, and I had to call Burlington County to get a replacement.
All right, well, glad you did, Joe. Who's your person?
It would be Joe Isuzu, who was famous for lying.
Yes.
The Harris-Waltz campaign ought to use him.
All right, thank you, Joe. This is a good one from Angela in Glen Olden, all-time pitch person. Angela, who was yours?
Suzanne Summers, the Thigh Master.
Yeah. I think that's gone away for women, you know, that very thin thighs or something are not thin anymore.
It didn't work.
Well, that too, of course. Any of those products like that, they're just, even Chuck Norris products, I have doubts about that. All right, the all-time encounter leader, at least in some years, Joe of Exton on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Joe, you are Mr. Encounter of the first kind. Go right ahead, Joe.
Yes, hello, Dom, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My person is Martha Stewart, as spokesperson for Skechers Shoes. Her delivery is smooth, straightforward, and well-informed. She points out characteristics of the product. But also, in addition, I'm fond of Martha because she is of 100% Polish ancestry, as I am.
Oh, my God.
Hey, Joe, so we did these analytics on these calls, and we found out that since 2021, you've been the most contacted caller, the person that's called us the most, and we really thank you for that. But I got a question, man. Your emergence as a regular caller as you've become, I had assumed that this has been going on for decades that you've been calling. Is this something that's developed within the past couple of years, and is it specific to the Dom Giordano program?
Yes. I was listening to Dom when he had his show in the morning, and I just I stayed with him. I enjoyed hearing him expound on different subjects.
So, Joe, were you calling into the Dom show, though, when you in the mornings, or is this something that only happened when we switched over to the rush hours?
I think I may have called then, but it's become more frequent.
Yes,
We're
I
happy
think
to
so.
have you,
Well,
Joe.
thank you, Joe. It's I was telling somebody the other day, you will not believe, I don't think in the country there's anybody like that calling in on a regular basis. It is on brand. Martha Stewart, of course. I love this one. I don't want to be biased, but Joe of Columbus. Joe, who's yours?
Dom, I'm not here to pad my numbers. I'm happy where I am in the call. You have some icons above me, but my choice is that regional icon who supports Captain Chucky's, Dom Giordano.
Thank you.
And I will wait for my payola if you need my address.
Joe, you're number 6.
Only 3 calls less than Joe of Exton this year.
Oh, my
Within
God.
Yeah, since the start of 2024.
I'm happy where I am, guys.
Yeah, that's what they all say. We know behind the scenes, Dan, what's going on here. By the way, I can't recommend enough, speaking of competition and people crawling on Mr. McMahon, I'm about through 4 hours of it, I think, or 4 episodes.
You're liking it that much that you stuck
yeah.
with it?
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. Wow. Yeah. As Machiavellian as I thought he was, I don't know how he got away with some stuff, though. It's a little bit unclear.
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, really weird.
Henry, who are some of the contenders?
Yeah, the 2 I like best today were Tom and Marlton with the Marlboro Man because he makes smoking cool. And and I like Joe of Exton's call there with Martha Stewart.
Yes. Henry, Dan.
I think I'm leaning towards the Marlboro Man.
I am too. I love that. That was fictional.
Do you remember the cigarette company that we have, the representative that calls in? He's now representing a lot of marijuana things. Do you remember this? It's like Winston Man or one of the cigarette companies.
Okay. Yeah, Marlboro Man, all time, though. All time. Great stuff. Put his name into the hat. We'll do it all again tomorrow. And if the Mets win today, we got to go after New York tomorrow because they're coming to Citizens Bank Park. Rich Z always next. 4 big hours. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Is your car still under warranty? No, not anymore. My mechanic just suggested an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?